All right.
Okay, so if you use that, you have to put it right up to it.
I know.
Yeah. So, Maze, I tried to get Matt this gadget that they have.
You tell me.
Huh? No, there's another gadget that I tried to get him. It's
What?
less than $200. Okay?
What is it?
Here's what it does. It's a box about that big, right? And it's got like 20 buttons on it. And you hook it up to this. And then this hooks into this. And then you can do like Martian voice, deep voice, echo voice.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I mean? You just hit the button, or it's just normal. What you need to do is go to Guitar Center and play with it.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you think of all the different things, I mean, you could be the guy in the chamber addressing the house. You can make it sound like you're talking on a telephone.
Yeah, you used to call me on my sick. Okay, dang, we didn't even do a show run.
Okay, so Amisha's 6:30. She's got a bevy of things to talk about there. Odds are she'll probably stay through and contribute to it.
Remember, we're on camera because I started early. I'm sorry.
Great. Rear Admiral Stephen Evans. He's here from 8 to 8:30 for sure, and he has a window to stay to 8:50 if you want.
Hold on. 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Rear
Admiral Stephen, S-T-E-P. H-A-N, Stephen Evans. Stephen, but it's Stephen.
Stephen Edward Evans.
Yeah. As soon as you come in, I'll find out how much you can talk about Trump and stuff,
Okay.
Because that would be good. Plus, you could talk about hopefully the
Cross.
transgender. That would be good to get out of him too,
Misha Cross.
Yeah, don't take him off there,
Well, he's listening right now.
Yeah. All right.
Well, he's listening
we
right
won't
now.
do is
Remember, we're live.
And we won't play In the Navy by the Village People.
Okay, so we need a question. What do we want to talk about?
Do this for the question about the Ronnie Woo Woo.
What you think about that one? What you think that just rolls? That's so out of cut. Ooh. How would you play that? The Cubs different. All right.
That, or you go on the tax thing, something with the taxes, for next year.
Today is the day your property taxes are due.
You gotta go.
Hey, check this out. My mom sent me shopping yesterday, and on her list, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 packs of pop.
All right. Hey, man, I'm going shopping.
Okay, my mom's 80 years old. Today's, whatever that goes in. So she's cognizant of that. I'm like, Mom, what's with all the pop? She's like, the taxes. I was like, Mom, I could just get it in bowling. But she's like, I just want to stock up. And I don't even drink soda,
Okay, wait. I got it. All right, so what are we doing? Do we want to do the mayor at 7? When do we want to do SB1?
So SB1?
Do that at 7?
Yeah. I mean, how do we start? That's the critical part.
I think we start with our good morning, Scaramucci out, the Trump White House shakeup.
First thing out the box. What about Amisha? Isn't she gonna
I mean, we're not gonna spend too. We'll cover it with Amisha. The reality is, bro. Once we come in off that first break and get through going through everything, it's literally like you're looking up at 14, and you're right.
It's fluid, and it just rolls all together.
Well, we want to go with this social media question. Do we want to do it on Ronnie Woo Woo and the difference in Cubs? I really do like the difference in the treatment thing. Like
look at what the big issue there is? Sammy Sosa. He's been basically totally. They're giving Bartman a fucking ring, and they don't even talk to Sammy Sosa, who contributed so much.
Well, I mean, ain't he pink now?
He is, but still, the fans, they really want that relationship restored.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that much. I don't think they'd recognize him if he walked up to him.
I mean,
All right.
they're
So wait.
Christians who walk
Okay.
out.
So do we want to take it off of that? Let's see.
I know when people wake up and they see this today in the newspaper, they're going to be fucking pissed.
What is it?
When they see this, and they know that their soda tax goes up today or whatever.
I think we start with the taxes, man. You know,
I mean, that's your
get into
wheelhouse.
that.
Yeah.
Get into that because I mean, it is tax day.
Yeah.
It's tax day, and tomorrow is
Tax day and pop day. Pop
Yeah.
tax day.
the mayor yesterday he would deny tax day.
Yeah.
Today is tax day.
I looked at this and I was like, I'm glad I live in Bolingbrook. First thing I thought when I saw this
What's
morning
that?
about the taxes. I mean, what's coming, you know? After all the shit that's happened this past few months.
Right, and we got the cell phone tax coming.
Yeah, cell phone
Tell
tax
Sonya
is
to queue up cell phone too, so when we do that, she can bring that in. Social media question of the day: Is there a difference between the way blacks are treated at Wrigley?
Well,
Why?
I'm just trying to think of a question. I think both items are good to talk about. I'm just wondering what the question would be.
Without making it, what is the difference? Why does Ronnie Woo Woo get thrown out and Bartman get a ring?
Yeah, everybody knows the answer to that.
Do they?
Well, yeah, Ronnie Woo does
Ronnie
smell
Woo Woo's
offensively.
black.
Ronnie Woo really does smell offensively. He doesn't wash that uniform.
Which are more black people fans of the Cubs or the White Sox, or do black people is Wrigley Field? Which ballpark is more hospitable to black people? Which organization is more hospitable to black people? The Cubs or the Sox? And do you play? I don't know what the question is, but I think that might be the way to go. I mean, there's gonna be people on both sides.
How about that? Are you Cubs? Okay, Cubs aside.
But I think it's got to be coached in black people, right? Which baseball organization is more?
Are the Cubs waiting for
which team is Black Chicago's baseball?
Are the Cubs waiting for the next World Series win to reconcile with Ronnie Woo?
No.
But see, which team is more hospitable to black people? Because that way you can make the example of the Bartman thing, and then you can make the example of the brother getting slapped for thrown in jail for the horse. Then you can go to
Bridgeport. Then you can do Lennar Clark. Then you can just do Lennar Clark in Bridgeport.
But then you go to Bridgeport and Lennar Clark, and you also go to the fact that the Cubs back in the 60s were the team that had the black players like Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Ferguson Jenkins, and all them people, because the Cubs have a tradition of actually being more hospitable to blacks and Latinos than the White Sox. But then the White Sox are kind of saying, we had Minnie Minoso. Yeah, but they'll
Sammy Sosa's so aware of that he's turning himself white to get back into the organization.
No, but it's true. But you can even go there. You can even go there, man. You can even say, yeah, but Sammy Sosa, is he black? Sammy Sosa ain't black. Look at what happened to Sammy Sosa. I mean, he's been like...
Hey, this is good for sound effects too, Maze. Just like when you were a kid.
Where's the black sanctuary? Which is the black sanctuary team? Which team is more welcoming?
Or more hospitable to black people? Yeah, welcoming. I don't know what the word is.
Well, you know, since we're in Illinois.
Oh, fuck. This motherfucking shit.
You're on camera. All right, y'all. Let's get ready to get it cracking. Y'all like my sound effects? Okay, guess the sounds. What's up, Philip Samuels? Good morning, everybody. All right, let's start. Good morning. What up, Kelly? What up, Philip Samuels? What up, Annette? What up, KM? What up, DS? Amadeus! Rock me, Amadeus. Amadeus. Who was we just talking about that said Amadeus was the man, first person to bring him to Chicago? Was it Eric Roberson? Amadeus gave you big plug on the show. All right, y'all, let's get ready.
Chicago, 1690 WVON. Wake up.
Everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war and poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best you can. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it now, just you and me. Wake up all the doctors, make the old people well. They're the ones who suffer and who catch all the air. They don't have so very long before their judgment day. Won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the builders, time to build a new land. I know we could do it if we all in the head. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. Surely things will work out. They do it every time. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Na 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 na. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, girl. Just you and me. Good morning, Chicago. Good morning, world. This is the WVON Morning Show. It's your main man, Maze Jackson. Got Charles Thomas in the studio. Charles, how you feeling today, man?
Hey, man, I'm trying to get the count right.
Man, I saw you climbing all on the table, man.
I'm trying to get the count right. That's just for the sound. In life, I'm trying to get the count right.
You know what, Charles?
I'm trying to get the count right, man. You know that I got to take several stacks down to Maria Pappas.
Maria Pappas? Now,
yeah,
who in the heck is Maria Pappas?
She's a Cook County treasurer. She won her money, man. She said, I want my money today.
Whoa, Charles, are you telling me?
About the property taxes,
holiday.
man.
It is a holiday in Cook County.
Woo,
it is a holiday. Let me tell you. It is tax day. Man, you know the tax day, they collect our money and they spend it. They having a party. They like,
tomorrow, check it out. Tomorrow, that's when the pop tax starts.
Tax day.
I got a thing. I got to have my pop, and then yesterday the mayor he wouldn't deny that he's got more taxes in line, man. I don't know. I'm just trying to get the count right. That's
man, Charles.
Trying to get the count right.
That's what. Charles. That's why you gotta get the bag. See, that's why yesterday's conversation was so relevant. We got to pay the bills. You got to get the bag. The count has to be right. The yayo and the bag have to make the exchange at the same time.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Could not do this without the morning show team. Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as Miss Sonia Escobar. She is the musical director of the Soul Plane. How y'all feeling this morning?
Good morning, Maze.
Hey, did y'all playing that?
That's like school. Man.
I got that in stereo.
Second grade. Good morning, teacher.
Happy August, everybody.
You know what?
Wake up. It's the
So I really like August and hate it at the same time. You know why? Because it seems like once you get to August, it's just a slippery slope. Charles, I was walking across 87th Street this morning, and it was a little darker, just a little cooler. And I was thinking to myself, man, in just a couple months, we're going to be trying to race the hog across the street.
Yeah, race the hog, man. It'll be dark out there, too, man.
Man, you gotta be careful in the dark. You know, after all the stuff we've been talking, man, you got to be careful in the dark. Charles, it has been an action-packed day. You know, we got a great show for you today. I'm excited to say that, Charles, we have a distinguished guest of honor in today. That's right, Charles. Stephen Evans. He's a rear admiral in the U.S. Navy.
He's the rear admiral. Now, if you're the what, you know,
see,
the
now,
front,
now look.
The front
We're
admiral
not gonna look,
and the rear admiral. What's the difference?
He runs the engine. The engine is in the back. Let's just call it the engine in the back.
I don't know if that's right, man. Maybe he's at the rear and the other guy's at the front. Because in the military, when they say the front, that's when you're out there on the front line.
Well,
right?
good. Well, you know
so
what?
He's at the rear.
So that means he calling the shots. He last when. Well, I'm excited because
in the Army they talk about a REMF, REMF.
What's that?
That's a rear echelon MF.
Are we trying to show love to the brother? Or what we trying to do?
No. He's at the rear. What I'm saying is that he's in the rear. He's not on the front because he does the naval training station.
Oh.
He commands the Great Lakes Naval Training Station, which means he's in the rear. He's training back in the back.
Okay, I want to show the brother some love. Right.
Well, I'm showing him love too.
Are
man.
you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
But see,
I'm lost.
I'm just trying to explain. I should just not say much
Charles,
more.
I'm just saying, like we want this
he's
brother is one of the high. Okay, but he is one of the highest ranking.
Yes.
He's reached the upper echelon.
Exactly, because if you get in the Navy, every living soul that comes through the Navy has to go through the Great Lakes Naval Training Station.
Really? Everybody?
Yeah. And maybe the ones that go to the Naval Academy don't have to, but I think everybody else who wants to get in the Navy has to go to Great Lakes to get their basic training.
So check
this guy is in charge of it. This brother is in charge of it.
He is going to be in the studio. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Evans will be here. Charles, you know it's tax day. We're gonna celebrate the holiday. We got some stories we're gonna talk about during the 7 o'clock. But Charles, it's also a very sad day for us. Well, sad and glad. You know, Amisha Cross, this is Amisha's last day in the studio with us today because she is going off to Washington, D.C. to set educational policy for young black people.
And to help drain the swamp. You know, now some people might say that Amisha Cross, she going places. Now they telling us we got to make sure she doesn't convert into one to don't you be connecting her with the Republicans when she gets out to DC. Me?
Charles, you know how you be trying to do that Republican thing.
I'm an independent man.
Charles, let me just be clear.
Independent, free thinking.
Charles, clearly you have not been in Illinois very long because you know that the free thinking black man is a bad thing and you are not allowed to do this.
My mission late in life is to change the paradigm.
Because you know they don't want us reading, man.
Change the paradigm.
Charles, they don't want us reading.
They didn't want us reading back in the day, but I sneaked around and I learned how to read.
You had snuck around?
I sneaked around, and I was one of them kind. I sneaked around and learned how to read and learned how to...
Now you become troublesome.
Well,
You're a troublesome one. He's one of them troublesomes. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. This is going to be the number one. I'm starting to feel like it could just be the number. I'm just claiming
it. It is the number
Can
one.
I just claim it, Charles?
Yeah.
Let's just claim it. You are tuned in to the number one morning show in the city of Chicago. Don't let them perpetrators tell you nothing else. This is where you come. So, Charles, when we come back, we are going to have our social media question of the day. Plus, we'll be talking to Amisha Cross. It is 6:18 on the Talk of Chicago. We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Lady Jackson coming up.
Good morning, people. How y'all feeling today? What's up? Can y'all take a moment and share the broadcast? YouTube is being a hater today, bro.
YouTube, man, is you can't.
Yeah, you can. I like YouTube is much better post.
Yeah, but who cares about posts, man? Because
I think you get more view. Oh, so I would tell you that you should care about posts because bulk of TV now is not watched live. It's watched the replay. So you look at this one. If you look at YouTube, you don't get. Well, we actually get replays on. You're good for about an additional 1,000 views on Facebook Live after the show. On YouTube, you're good for about maybe another 150 to 200. But as we continue to rise, we're now starting to hit the YouTube Chicago page. So I'm starting to see, like in the morning when people get their email, now you're on the YouTube email blast. So they each have their strengths. Facebook is just more fun interacting live. But if you want analytics and measurements until Facebook provides the analytics for what we're doing, YouTube has a lot more demographic information. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? I have been neglecting the online audiences here lately. So let me just go ahead. What's up, Antoine Dobson? What up, Craig Nash? What up, Amisha? What up, Ricky Jones? Ricky, I got your text. I'll hit you up. I got some stuff to do today, so we'll shoot for tomorrow. What's up, Kenneth Briscoe, Reese Moe, Antoine, Nate Williams. What's up, Nate? Charlie Domingue, KM, Randy Daniels, Dewan, Henry Hartsfield, Hotep, my brother. Blue Five to my brother Rob. What's up, David Turner? What's up, Jafar? Kenneth Briscoe. Robert Clark, what's up? Leah Karma Coffee, Latrice Williams, DS. What's up, Mikal? Appreciate the love yesterday. Alvin Norton, what's up, my brother? What, you trying to tell people come to court yesterday? What's up, Charles Thomas? Kelly, am I saying that right? I hope I am. It looks like that's how it's spelled. What's up, Philip Samuels? Y'all take a moment, share the broadcast. Amadeus, y'all don't know, Amadeus is a Chicago musical legend. If you heard when we had Eric Roberson. You know Amadeus?
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. That's who I know Amadeus by. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
We're gonna have to get
the middle name of the composer.
We're gonna have to get Charles some street cred.
No, I got street cred.
You guys hear about this college athlete who lost his eligibility because he was profiting off of YouTube videos?
Did you say again, man?
It's a college athlete, okay? You know how if you profit in college from the sport that you're in, you're kicked off the team? He was profiting from videos that he made on YouTube showing his athletic abilities.
Got it.
Profiting from?
What up, Double J? What up, Adrian? Rocky! What up, Walter Palmer? Big Brother Kane, Donnie St. Dig, Erica, what's up? Tell Brian I said, what's up? What's up, Braden? Edward Muhammad, Amy Williams, what's up, everybody? We're back. We're back. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Charles, a lot going on today, but you know what? You came in with a what do they say, in your craw? What they call a bug?
Oh, you know, like something stuck in your craw.
You
like,
had something.
I just can't process it. And that is this fellow that was in the paper today who was arrested and charged with teasing a police horse outside Wrigley Field. But this brother was clearly...
What was this white man doing? Teasing a horse?
It was a black man. It was a black man who apparently was... Maybe he was a little inebriated, which isn't anything different.
Inebriated at Wrigley Field?
Yeah, right.
Get out of
You know,
here.
or maybe he was just a little bit touched in the head, as old folks used to say. I don't know. But anyway, he teased the police horse. But what the kicker is, they arrested him and charged him with teasing a police horse and put him in the Cook County Jail. I mean, to put a $5,000 bond on the guy. Clearly, he may have been. He looked like he wouldn't have $500 certainly to post a D bond, but they put him in the Cook County Jail, and so he's sitting in the Cook County Jail
for pushing a horse.
For teasing a police horse.
What did he say? Nah.
Right, something like that. Called him out of his horse name. But anyway, here we go. We having all these politicians run around talking about how people should not be, how they're wasting money at the Cook County Jail, spending well over $100 a day to keep somebody in there. And they put the guy in the jail. I mean, at Wrigley Field. I mean, come on, man. Like you said, drunk at Wrigley Field, is that a crime? Acting out at Wrigley Field, is that a crime that should put you in the Cook County Jail? But it points out what will happen to a black man
when he goes to Wrigley Field.
When he goes to
Wrigley Field.
That's where we can talk about that.
Well, let's talk about it. Because Charles, I saw in the paper yesterday, right? I saw in the paper yesterday that they get, matter of fact, it's on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times. Mm-hmm. Steve Bartman. Now, do you remember Steve Bartman?
He's the white boy that messed up the play in 2003.
The white boy that stopped them from going to the World Series.
So they allege.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they
Charles.
Suck anyway. So the Cubs sent him a ring. Not like a cubic zirconia ring. They sent him the official Cubs.
All them diamonds, man, all iced up and everything.
He got a ring
$25,000
because they wanted
out the door, right?
wanted to heal that memory.
Mm-hmm. Right. And these are the same Chicago Cubs that threw Ronnie Woo out the game. Right?
Check it out. You know that.
For a $9 ticket or $10 ticket, they threw him out the game. Threw Ronnie Woo. Now y'all know who Ronnie Woo is, right? He's the brother that dresses up in the Cubs uniform. Yeah, he be a little, as they say.
You gotta be a little touched to go dress up in the Cubs uniform.
Yeah, but he's a diehard fan. They threw him out the game earlier this year. Threw him out. Said no.
Did you see the video? Because my main man, your main man, Kenny B, last night sent me a video of Ronnie Woo standing outside after he had been thrown out of the Cubs after 25 years.
Yeah, and he's 75 years old. He's a 75-year-old man who has devoted his entire life to wearing a Cubs suit. This is when the Cubs used to be like the worst of the worst.
And then they would be like, Ronnie Woo, he'd be on the news.
Woo. And they would love
that down too.
Too good. And then they would all take pictures with him. He would make the game interesting. The news media would crowd around him. But now that they started winning, Ronnie Woo, you got to go. You got to go. Right?
Cubs. Yeah. So, Charles, it got me to thinking, right? Because, I talked to my father-in-law, and boy, he is a lover of the Cubs. Mm-hmm. He loves the Cubs because he talks about when Ernie Banks used to round them all up, pick them up in a station wagon, take them all to the Cubs.
And they had Billy Williams, Ferguson Jenkins as well. They had great players. I remember when they had Mad Dog Maddox. The guy, Bill Matlock. They had Andre Dawson. They've had great black players, and I think a lot of black people remember that the Cubs, that was under long ago ownership and such, but they thought the Cubs were the pro-black team in Chicago, and the White Sox were not,
because they were in Bridgeport.
You know what happens in Bridgeport?
Ask Leonard Clark.
Yep, ask Leonard Clark and any other brothers that didn't make the news that crossed that line and went into Bridgeport at the wrong time, at the wrong place.
So, Charles, it brings me to the social media question of the day. Which Chicago baseball team is more hospitable? See, you said hospitable. I say welcoming because, we in this sanctuary.
And it's the White Sox. I know that.
Which team
Which Chicago baseball team is more welcoming or hospitable to black people?
And I walk in here every day doing what?
Rocking your White Sox at Charles.
Right.
I'm rolling with the White Sox myself. I have been to too many. I can't speak for the Cubs specifically, but I can speak for the fans and the experience that you have in and around. Boy, I sat in the bleachers one time, and that, my brother, was. You really got to be confident. Yeah, you got to be confident in your blackness. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Charles. I mean, the bleachers, they was calling the players interesting names.
Interesting names. Yeah, and throwing like stuff out on the field.
Bananas.
You said it.
Bananas.
Bananas.
So
at Wrigley Field.
At Wrigley Field. So I want to know, the Misha's coming in today, so I think we can extend our social media question because she's going to hang out with us for a little while longer. But Charles, we want the WVON listeners to give us a call, 773-591-1690, post Facebook or tweet, which Chicago baseball team is more hospitable? That's Charles's word. But since we're in Chicago, which is more welcoming? Which is the sanctuary team for black people? Right? Ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, 773-591-1690. When we come back, we'll be talking to Amisha Cross. It's the last day with us, y'all. She's going to Washington. But how they say Mrs. Cross is going to Washington? What was the movie, Charles?
Mr. Smith or somebody like that.
Okay, so Mr. Smith goes.
She's
Ms. Cross is going to Washington. So we'll be talking to her for the rest of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Up next, news, traffic, and weather at 6:30.
Live from the WVON newsroom. Here's
What's up, Amisha Cross?
Good morning.
It's your last. You got time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to do the social media, and you can just stay and hang with us. We want to talk about...
Come here, darling.
Hey.
Oh, baby, I miss you so much. Move that out the way.
Stop out of the way. I wouldn't go to a stadium where people throwing bananas.
we need to have them move this, because this is going to be the blocker.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Mooch yet.
It's just so funny.
I think...
It's sad.
I think it is the writing of the ship. I think...
Good, man. You think so? What? I thought the rest of it was the writing of the ship.
No, I think
been writing the ship. The ship is doing this. He keep writing the ship, and everybody on this side try to write it.
I think this
is everybody.
I think this is the military being like, "Hey, homie, see them big guns? Y'all don't watch Homeland, do y'all?
I haven't seen it in a minute.
You got to watch Homeland. You watch Homeland, you'll be like, oh shit, here it comes."
It's just so funny. I was like, Lord.
I couldn't believe it. I said, not a day after the chief of staff goes.
Did they not? He could have resigned after he said all those stupid comments to the New Yorker.
Nah, dude, I think dude was like this. I think that the general was like, "Hey, homie, if you want me to come in here and fix this, I'm not even starting with this bullshit." Like, you look, he was like, "We ain't even." Let me tell you. When they give you the job to clean up, I done this on campaigns. When they send you in and they say, "Okay, you come in," and it's like, why give bullshit even a day to poison anything? Look this. When you saw the comments, we all knew he was going.
He was gone. We knew he was gone. There was no reason to keep him.
I think that's when Donald Trump was like, "Okay, my joint is completely." Even he was like, "My shit sucks." Sorry.
His best friend went on Twitter on a rant.
Who?
About rights. No, he went on about rights and how he was a cheater and called out the name of whoever the person was who he's supposedly stepping out on his wife with. It just went really bad. And that was night before.
We can't afford this in DC, man. Everybody's business to be on the street. Come on, let's do this.
Wait,
come on, do the thing.
Just hang on one second. Did you also see the thing that he posted some revenge porn?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, on Friday he posted revenge porn on his wife Friday night on the internet.
That's illegal.
Mooch?
The Mooch.
The Mooch
He
did.
posted revenge porn on his own wife?
Who's 9 months pregnant, who filed divorce on him last Friday.
This is like a despicable human being.
He's the deplorable.
Man.
3, 2.
I don't know if you all saw the cover of the Sun-Times, but apparently Steve Bartman got a ring for ruining the Cubs' chance at a World Series. Meanwhile, poor Ronnie Woo Woo got thrown out because he couldn't find his $9 ticket. So I want to ask the question. Which Chicago baseball team is more welcoming or hospitable? I like to say sanctuary for the black people. So, social media question of the day. Which Chicago baseball team is more welcoming or hospitable to black people? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post Facebook or tweet, and we will get your comments on there. Peace. I gotta go.
Also, the email scammer. You hear about this?
The email scammer.
Yeah, this guy from London fished a bunch of people in the White House, inviting them to a party, and people responded, included the head of security, okay, and cybersecurity, and gave the fisher his private email address to contact him future parties.
I can't.
Yep, that happened.
Well, the White House is hiring a senior advisor for IT. Maybe they'll take this guy's job too.
When's the party, Amisha?
1000 South Clark.
I said when?
Friday.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, who's out there? Who we got in the YouTube group? Let's say what's up to Anthony Robinson. What's up, Kim? What up, Linda? What up, Rick Good? What up? These are hard to see. What up, Kemet?
WVON traffic and weather now.
What up, Amy Williams? What up, Edward Muhammad? Eric, I got you already. Let's see who's at the top. Oh, who's at the bottom? Look at that, White Sox.
Like, is that even a question? White Sox.
What up, Chris Ray, man? Better start returning people's calls, man. What up, Cheem Dog? What up, Steel Running Stovall? What up, Randy? Salim Uwakil. Are you a philosopher? Yes. What up, Chris Hayes? Chris, you hate to say it, but the Cubs. What? And Dennis Evans. What up, Stephanie Allen? DS says, so you asking, in essence, you're asking which racist white team do we prefer? Y'all focus. Y'all, you know what, the Den, y'all, you know what, the Den, y'all a tough crowd, man. Y'all are a tough crowd. I'm glad y'all like us. Sheesh. Must be around here sensitive. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Charles, you all right, man?
Yeah, man. I'm just sitting here next to the to our millennial voice, Amisha Cross, and she's about to enlighten us on the doings in the nation's capital, which are quite I mean, I can't keep up, quite frankly. I mean, what's the latest? The mooch sleeps with the fishes.
Oh, he sleeps with the fishes.
The mooch, Scaramucci.
But what about his future?
Pass the sauce, please.
You know, so he had to call the Godfather. He said, it's time for him to go. So they call our Irish friend.
Carmine, could you take care of the mooch for us?
John Kelly, call John Kelly. Tell him it's time. He must sleep with the fishes.
Time for the mooch. Yeah, this is something, man. I thought after the Priebus resigned, that was, I mean, King.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the WVON Morning Show. That's why you tune in. See, that's why you cannot fly the soul plane without the musical conductor.
Right.
How did she find Scaramucci in the Bohemian Rhapsody
anywhere in America?
Because that is why we got the best musical conductor. So, Amisha, you got time to hang out with us. I know it's your last day, so you got time to stay hanging in the studio?
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Wonderful. So, first, Amisha, I'm going to let you go into this mooch, and then we're going to have to ask you your question on the social media. But talk to us about the mooch.
Well, Scaramucci is out. As of yesterday, he officially resigned. A lot of speculation is around it being because of the new White House chief of staff and them not really getting along, but also the fact that Scaramucci's name actually became bigger than Trump's over the past week. Time after time, he was one of the mainstays in the news media, specifically around some of the actions that he was taking, threatening to fire literally everyone, in addition to just being a larger-than-life personality, someone who called up reporters, who cursed reporters out, who used very vulgar terms in relation to his own disagreements with Reince Priebus before his exit, as well as just being a guy who people saw as not only pushy, but extremely aggressive, and not aggressive in the sense that Trump is, where their American public is excited about him actually being there, but aggressive and ignorant in that sense, and not really understanding what his role was. He wasn't out here really shaping communications in the direction of communications for the White House, which was what he got hired for. He was actually trying to create his own image and his own ideology around what that role meant.
But how do you, though, as president of the United States, hire the guy?
Yeah.
And then 11 days later, fire the guy? I mean, who advised you to hire the guy in the first place? I mean, do they vet these people at all?
Well, there's a long history of loyalty between Scaramucci and the president. So first off, there's that. He was actually supposed to get a position long before, during the first week of Trump's ascendancy to the presidency. And what ended up happening was once Reince got in, Reince decided that he was going to block that hiring at every turn. And that's where a lot of the friction came between Reince and Scaramucci from the beginning. And Scaramucci has done everything to try to get into the White House, including selling off Skybridge, which was his company, his hedge fund group, all the issues with his marriage that came from it, as well as basically losing a ton of his own friends and really uprooting his own life to be there and reshaping himself to make sure that this would happen for himself.
So now do we think... Now, I tend to think of this as look at this differently. I think that John Kelly is now riding the ship. What do you think about that?
No, I do think that John Kelly came in and he said, there are some things that obviously need to be changed in this White House. This White House has issues that are more than just leakers. This White House needs to be reshaped. It needs to be restructured. We need people that we can work with and people who will follow the president's agenda. We clearly saw that Scaramucci had an agenda in and of himself that became larger than everyone else. And as a chief of staff, I think that would have been a very hard thing for him to work with.
Can we back up just a second? Because I think you got to explain, too, that this guy had some personal issues with his family and his wife that also entered into the picture as the discussion of him, continued.
Yeah, as we discussed Scaramucci, it's almost like watching a soap opera reel. He came into the White House with some significant issues on a personal bent, going through a divorce, a high-profile divorce, one that has been covered on the New York pages for days at this point. A divorce that was filed while his wife was 9 months pregnant, a wife who he did not go to the hospital to see for the birth of his child, a wife who he sent a text message to saying congratulations, but did not show up until 10 days after his child was born. There's a lot going on there. In addition to, as of last week, actually posting revenge porn against his wife.
Revenge porn? Now that's when you post them naked pictures of somebody.
Exactly.
Like
so you took naked pictures, found naked pictures, posted them on social media sources, and yeah, it's just a very messy divorce. And these are things that you don't do generally speaking, but you definitely don't do when you're the White House communications director.
See, this is the Russian thing to me is like. It's what Van Johnson, I think, called it a big nothing burger. I mean, but this disorder, this chaos, even the Republicans have to say, whoa, wait a minute. This is how the government's being operated? I mean, what if little Kim should do something crazy in North Korea? Or the Iranians should fire a Scud missile at Tel Aviv? these are the people in charge?
And it's interesting that you bring up vetting, because aside from his personal issues, there is absolutely nothing in Scaramucci's history that would have made him a sufficient person to come on as White House communications, period, at all. He's never worked in communications. He's been a finance guy his entire life. He does not, that ship for him to lead would have been very difficult, considering that that's not his background.
But you don't always have to know something about something in order to be the leader of something. Look here in Chicago. I mean, we've got who we got?
Everybody.
The Reverend Dr. Forrest. We Shall Overcome Claypool is he's in charge of the education of hundreds of thousands of young people.
The White House has never had a communications director who did not work in communications in history.
So, I mean, but they also never had a reality star in history. I think that one of the things here, and I feel like what we are watching right now is the fact that the government is not really relying upon the president. I mean, I think we got the news and we're looking at all this and we're all hyped up and all fired up, but the fact of the matter is the machine is still going, right? And when I saw the appointment of General Kelly, it made me think that the powers that be said, okay, enough, right? Because you're ruining the illusion. Yeah. And so I think when you look at, I just think that Trump's presidency shows us that the president is not the most powerful person.
Well, I mean, that's a conspiracy theory that's been around. I mean, there are people that are saying that the Joint Chiefs of Staff have been running the United States since the mid-Obama administration. But, you know, that's sort of out there, but I don't think there's no empirical proof, so to speak, of
I think
what's
that
going on.
I don't think that
if it's happening like that.
What do you call it? So what's the other one? It's not empirical. So what's the other one? What do you call it? You offer, I don't know what the word is, but here's the fact of the matter is that in spite of everything that has happened and heard, the Navy's still sailing. The Army is still work. I just think that the functions of the country are not relying upon someone who is transitional every 4 to 8 years. If it was, and our whims went with that every time, then I think the country would be in tumult all the time.
So what are these members of this coup going to do? I mean, how are they going to react to the world situation?
I'm not suggesting that there's a coup.
Dr. Jackson.
I'm not suggesting that there's a coup. What I'm suggesting is that just like any corporation, you can swap out the CEO anytime. The corporation, there's a board of directors, and the corporation is going to roll.
Well, I do think there's a concerted effort of people, to your point, who are within the White House who don't necessarily align with a lot of the president's policy goals or a lot of what the president is doing. I think that is problematic to his administration. So back to Scaramucci, he probably shouldn't have been there, but I do think that there are some statements that he made that were absolutely true. There's a reason why there's an extent of chaos in this White House among White House staff, and a lot of it is because that was never able to be reeled in from the beginning, and they don't agree, and they don't fly with the president on many things. And at this point, you're either in or you're out. He can't really afford to have people there who are going to make it more difficult for him, even though he's already going through this tumultuous time while he's there. It just doesn't make sense.
How is the rest of the world seeing this, particularly those nations that might be considered hostile by this government, like the North Koreans?
We'll talk about that when we come back, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6:47 on the Talk of Chicago. Up next, traffic and weather.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at what's happening in the world, I think we would be naive to believe that if our fate was going to be in the hands of Donald Trump, do you think that the people that fly the nuclear missiles, do you think like if Donald Trump woke up tonight and said, he sent a tweet and said, we nuking Russia tomorrow, do you think they gonna push the button, or you think Donald Trump gonna be dead? Right? I hear that the president is the most powerful person in the world, but again, if he is, how does it transition every 4 to 8 years? And so, yeah, I think, and with this Kelly thing, I feel like they like, okay, bro, this is looking way too crazy, and you're gonna take the shine off of what we've been doing. So, everybody, that means your daughter, your mom, because all y'all are expendable, right? I think they can always point to JFK and be like, you don't want to listen?
check this out. See ya. It's been done before.
And I feel like that's what you have to do. If it means that somebody's there for 3 or 4 days, if they're going to take all of the media attention and everything away from what you're doing, they have to go. Scaramucci should have been gone after day 2.
You know, I do think, well, like, what was the brain, like, I feel like I understand you bringing in your guy, somebody that's got your back, but you don't put him as the communications director in front of people, right?
Well, now the question is, since he's still his guy, is he going to be shifted around to another White House position that's not as frontal as, obviously, communications director?
Well, I think
in my opinion, he's already shown himself. There's no reason to have him in any position in the White House at this point.
I mean, but, like, I feel like I'm your friend. Like, I feel like I could do more damage as your friend outside than being on the thing. You just want the power of giving me the it's like, the thing with government is, once you get over the whole, like, people bending over and serving you and doing whatever, it's like, then you recognize, like, how little power really they have. I think, but you want that for a minute. There's the people that want that, how do you say it? They want that treatment for a minute, and then they want to go get the money. I feel like, so you watch, like, once you've had the taste of what it is walking around the halls and everybody acting like you the man, but then you realize, when you really realize you ain't the man. But some people get caught up in that. And it is, like, I wanted to work in politics as a staffer or as somebody, because when you're the lobbyist or you're watching, you can see that they can move around and get a lot of stuff done. But then once you realize you're getting peanuts for that, right? Then you're like, yeah, let me just go ahead and hop out on the private side. But that's why you see so many people they take the job to increase their business.
But yeah, I mean, there's power and movement around it. I would argue that it's very different in a presidential administration than it is for somebody who's a non-president. Everyone who came out of the Obama White House is now in the private sector making whatever, like, didn't have to do too much to get there. It's just they're riding on the Obama wave.
But unfortunately, it's only 2 of them that was black. We won't go there, though. I'll leave it alone. No, I think that's part of the reason you take the big government job, is so that you can connect the dots.
Right.
You can move around, and then that makes you more valuable in the real world. Scaramucci, like, let me get on some of these boards.
And now he's already sold off all his stuff. It's like...
But he got paid double, I heard.
Yeah, he got his money. The thing is, the government is going to take a lot of it in taxes should he leave the White House or leave a government position. So he's trying to stay there so he can keep... I'm
going to come back to the social media question. No. Ooh! I'm never going to say goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. And we are, that Sonia is something else. She is making dedications. That's right. It is our last day with Amisha Cross in the studio. She's going to be a big-time Washington lobbyist. Don't forget the little people. When you get to D.C., what's the question you going to ask, Amisha? You better ask it right, or we gonna come get you.
Always, what's in it for the black people?
There it is. Don't forget it on the hill. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Mace Jackson, Charles Thomas, Amisha Cross sitting in the studio. Now, we've been talking about Scaramucci, but Amisha, since this is your last day, we gotta get you to answer the social media question of the day, right? Which Chicago baseball team is more welcoming, hospitable, or sanctuarious? I think
Sanctuarious. That's a good one.
Sanctuarious to black people.
Join the club. Me and Salim gonna go.
Sanctuarious of the. Let me get this. So Ronnie Woo Woo kicked out. I mean, he is a Cubs fixture, kicked out. These new people came in. Hey, homie, you ain't got no ticket. But woo, 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 woo. It's like he tried to woo, woo, woo. He said.
There you go, answering the question that you asked.
So. Tell me, Amisha, which Chicago baseball team is more welcoming?
Hands down, the White Sox. I've seen black men specifically get spit on at Wrigley. I've seen them not be able to go into the bars
right outside. Like, it is what it is. They think that Wrigley has a history of not necessarily being welcoming to black people, specifically black men. And for that reason, I 100% say White Sox.
You know, and I think it's also, Lamisha, a recent phenomenon. I mean, because now that the suburb types and whatnot are now it's trendy to be a Cub fan, and they have all these bars and such in this. And I think that's a new crowd down there. Maybe in the '60s it may have been different.
Well, I think I'm a White Sox fan. I know that White Sox Park is in Bridgeport, and Bridgeport has its history. But my experience has been very not pleasant except for the times that I've been invited by Julian Green. Let me just say that, except for the times, but those are the special black people days. Let's go to the live lines. Ryan, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Favorite son, a 50-year White Sox fan, and hey, man, I'm gonna make it real quick and to the point. When you ask the question, what is it in for the black? This is not the child. Executive level, Kenny Williams. Okay, well, Cubs only let a black person broadcast again. The White Sox have Dan Jackson on the radio. Let's take it now to another level. I know there's the cleaners right over on College Road. They clean the White Sox uniform. See, the White Sox put money back here. Lastly, the RBI program, reinventing the baseball in the league. See, so to me, that is what's most important. Where is the money for the black people? Hey, Charles?
Yep.
Hey, you mentioned Madlock. During that time, Madlock had just won back-to-back batting titles for the club. You know what they did? They traded him for a washed-up player. I forgot his name right now. It escapes me. I knew it. Washed-up white baseball player. See, so that's what it to me is very simple. So anybody that black person walks around with a Cubs uniform in their shirt, you know what? They are absolutely lost. Go White Sox.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about.
You know, I think that though it is important that we recognize where they spend their money as well. I think watching them using the cleaners, using the local services, you know, they've had black people on the board of or at least Illinois Sports Facility as well. I'm not so sure about the Cubs. William, you're on the Talk of Chicago. Your thoughts? Cubs, White Sox.
Yeah, your previous caller just stole some of my thunder. You know, because the Cubs organization, it was the reason why their previous, they morphed into the team that was the reason why there was no black players in the National Baseball League from the 1800s. They had a player who poisoned the system, because we had black players in the professional football in the 1800s, which a lot of people don't know. But the Cubs organization is the team that started the racism to keep black players out of national baseball. And right now, it's ironic that they're aligned. Some of their political people are aligned with the most racist president we've had since Andrew Jackson. Right now, one of the people are real tight with Ted Cruz. You know, that's an insult. So I was hoping the Cubs never would win a World Series, and I hope they never win another one.
Thank you, William. It is interesting that it's funny to me that we talk about resist, and everything, but nobody ever, except for all the black Cubs fans, all the white Cubs fans, all the white liberals who be like, oh my God, anything associated with Donald Trump, we must resist. I saw every white liberal in the whole entire world at the World Series, at the playoffs, and when they gave the ring, didn't the Ameritrade man give money to Donald Trump? Wait, y'all, was anybody resisting?
You mean the Ricketts people?
Yeah, the owners. Aren't they Trump supporters?
Republicans, man. I think they have a daughter or something like that who's a Democrat, a Hillary person.
But you know how they
do
the
rest of them. But the company, the outfit. I mean, billionaire people. I mean, they're down with the GOP.
They spoke their levels of support for Trump early on.
You know, I guess are we offended? Should we be offended that they went back to? They had a second visit with the Trump administration. So some went to go see President Obama and some went to see Trump. You know, I just wonder what signal it sends to the black community when that happens. And I just, this Ronnie Woo Woo versus Steve Bartman. Sometimes I think that people do stuff and
it's so just natural for them to do it. Like, I think they feel justified. Let's throw Ronnie out. And I think that they feel like heroes doing this for Steve Bartman. But could you imagine the PR they would have gotten for giving Ronnie Woo Woo even a fake ring?
Oh, Ronnie Woo Woo would have. Oh man.
Baseball.
See,
man. I mean, you think about that. I mean, as much as Bartman is a symbol, I feel like Ronnie Woo Woo was, and nobody thought, man, we could give him.
Ronnie Woo Woo was a much bigger symbol. He's been out there for 25 years during the leanest times for the Cubs. Bartman showed up for a playoff game.
Julian Green. Get that man some season tickets, man. You know what's right. Do right by the people, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze. My main man, Charles Thomas, and Misha Cross, sitting in the studio. When we come back, man, it's taxed. You know what? This city of Chicago, your mayor, Rahm Emanuel, I think he got up and told a bold-faced lie on us yesterday. Plus, we'll discuss SB 1 education funding reform at 6:59 on the Talk of Chicago.
WVON.
Y'all got the camera.
The website.
You all have the camera.
Check it out. The Talk of Chicago.
The camera's on y'all. I'll be back.
White House intrigue. LA gets the games. I'm Evan Haney. New White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci is gone, and staffers are being told to report directly to John Kelly. Correspondent Shimon Prokopez.
RNC got rid of their black outreach person too.
Who was that? Really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It's done. Kelly Lovelace? He's got a weird name. Yeah, anyhow.
I've never heard of
he
it.
He basically led the outreach for the past 2 years up through the election, and he just quit yesterday. Basically because he felt as though that black people didn't get enough out of this administration. There aren't enough black people working in the administration, and he's just done.
Yeah, and they seem to be ignoring Omarosa. I mean, she's just like
right. She's there, but she's not there
decoration.
She's not there making any real difference.
Yeah,
she's not
set
even
decoration.
She's not even frontal.
Right. I mean, she sits in the side, in the back, and when he has a picture, she's there. But but I think you could say that about the Republican Party nationally. Is that here we're about to go through another cycle in the election. Another election cycle, and black folks are out on a lifeboat right now. I mean, nobody's saying anything to us in the Democratic Party, and the Republicans are not making a move to try to,
Well, apparently this is supposed to be their new strategy to where they develop it across the country. Specifically, they have an eye on the Midwest, but they also have an eye on certain areas in the South that are a little bit more leaning, so that they can bring more African Americans in. How they do that is questionable because it seems like every election cycle they develop a strategy.
They do, and that's what I'm saying. This has been happening every 2 years, certainly since Bill Clinton recaptured the White House. They have been talking about that every 2 years, and every 2 years comes and goes, and when the campaigns actually begin, they do nothing. They commit no money, they do no advertising, no outreach in the black community. And you wonder, like, how in the world did they ever expect to get it? And right now is an ideal opportunity because, as we've been saying, black folks are on lifeboats.
Right. There's so much frustration with the Democratic Party, and there's so many people who are just kind of out here in the middle at this point, not really loyal to either party. I think that's fervent ground. If you're going to cast something, now is the time to do it, which you probably couldn't have done in the Clinton era, or definitely couldn't have done in the Bush era among black people. Now is a very different time.
And now, now in this post-Obama period is critical. I mean, it's historic for black people because we really have to make a decision now as to what we're going to do moving forward. I mean, I've always said I think Barack Obama's election signaled the end of statutory, not racism, but certainly civil rights suddenly has given way to economic parity in the system right now. That's what our problem is. They conceivably could do something about that with their whole free market side and talking free market economics, but they don't. They haven't made any move at all.
I think they have a problem communicating free market ideology to minority groups.
But why? Why do they?
I think there's a natural assumption that minorities just aren't going to rock with that, specifically black people.
That's their assumption.
Yes, I think that it is, and I think that it's also because there's a larger, outskirts assumption that black people, by and large, want things given to them. But when you look at the fact that there's a middle-class black society, that is what it is. They're upper middle-class black people who are very much free market ideologists, whether or not they support, all the social changes and things that don't necessarily align with the president's market or not. Free market economies are something that a lot of people support, regardless of race.
Yeah, and there's also free market solutions as well as socialist solutions to issues. I don't know of any purist society. The only purist, one way or the other, societies are failures. I mean, if you look at some banana republics that are totally free market, you got scores, gazillions of poor people. Then you look at the totally socialist countries like your North Korea and your Cuba, they're economic failures. So you got to have a mix. You call China communist or socialist? Give me a break.
Well, they have an open economy now. So.
Exactly, but I mean, you blend. Everything's a blend, and there can be argued to black people that the blend for us has gone too far socialist. For instance, we should have child care systems set up in our communities that are self-sufficient. We shouldn't be depending on the government to subsidize our child care. I mean, what's up with that? You can't do that. You got to come up with systems to do it in your own community, to take care of your own children. And we shouldn't be depending on the government to do that for us.
I think part of that is because the government created a
without
massive safety net of dependency. And it's really sad in many cases because once you're on it, it makes it very hard to get off and very unsustainable.
Without a doubt. That's definitely a problem. I mean, we're hooked on it. They got us addicted. And one party likes us like that, dependent, because then, we're dependent on them to support that. And it's easy to understand. I get it.
The RNC is hoisting their black outreach strategy on charter schools, though. They think that the wave of pulling black people in is going to be having conversations around education funding, and charters.
Yeah, they could do that. School choice is an issue they could ride. They could also ride...
Especially now, since all the numbers are coming back from those who've gone to college and those who graduated from college. They can do it.
They can do it. They can ride the whole... certainly can ride the free market issue in terms of developing businesses in the black community. I mean, reducing regulation so that businesses can flourish, particularly small businesses in areas like the black community. But as long as you continue to tax and regulate, it's going to be impossible for black people to start businesses in their communities which are going to continue to die.
And occupational licensing. They're the ones out in front on that.
Right. They can do it.
Barbers, braiders, everything.
But they won't,
they're leading that charge.
They won't cut all these racists and homophobes and everybody else that they have within their coalition. They won't cut them loose to take us in.
Neither will some Democrats.
We're back. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Annette Flournoy in the newsroom. Could not do the show without our musical conductor and director flying the soul plane. That's right, Miss Sonia Escobar. And sitting in with us on her last day, that is right, Miss Amisha Cross is in the studio. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about the mooch. Had a little bit of conversation on our Cubs White Sox. I think it's pretty clear in most of our mind that the White Sox are the sanctuary
team for black people. But you still go to social media, Facebook, Twitter, leave us your comments, and we will try and get those on the air. Now, stay tuned. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Rear Admiral Stephen Evans. He is one of the highest-ranking black men in the Navy. He runs the Great Lakes Naval Base, and he's retiring soon, so he'll be kind of bringing us up to speed on quite a few issues. But now let's talk about what's going on. You know, I saw so much in the news yesterday. I guess we'll start with SB1 and school funding reform. Charles, kind of tell us what's going on.
Well, you know, the Senate and the House in Illinois, the General Assembly passed a bill last May to remake the school funding formula so that it would be more need-based as opposed to the way it is now, where where school districts have to depend on their property taxes in order to support more on their property taxes than on state funds. In fact, Illinois public schools are the least funded by their states than any in the country. So they want to change the formula so that poorer school districts actually get more money from the state than those that are more able to pay for their own. That's a very oversimplified look at it. But within this bill are provisions to give or provide the Chicago public schools additional monies. A block grant, because the Chicago public schools have more low-income students, and a special grant of $215 million that would go to help pay for pensions for Chicago public schools. The governor says that Chicago should not get this additional money for its pensions because Chicago public schools are mismanaged, and the reason they have this pension shortfall is because Chicago, or CPS, has mismanaged its funds. He also says that this additional block grant should be spread to school districts all over the state. So there's a controversy. The governor says he will veto those parts of the school funding formula, this bill. He'll veto those parts that provide additional funding to Chicago. And apparently the suburban districts around the state agree with him, or at least Republican reps from downstate in the suburbs agree with him. And his administration claims they're going to stand fast behind him, that they won't override his veto of these funds for Chicago. And there's another standoff developing in Springfield, and they've got to come up with some kind of resolution to this by August 10th, because that's the day that the school districts find out whether or not they're going to get the money.
Downstate and suburban areas see this as a Robin Hood bill of sorts, where you're taking money from wealthier areas and you're giving it back to the city of Chicago. CPS, and Governor Rauner's right in this, CPS has mismanaged funds for years. If you're talking about the block grant specifically, this was actually an idea that came from other states. We're not the first state that had a block grant that was given specifically to a lower income area that had more students of low incomes from disadvantaged populations, because it takes a lot more money per pupil to fund their educations than it does those who are from more affluent communities. Because typically in those areas, students don't start on time, meaning that you're in third grade, but your reading, writing, and math skills are a lot further behind than third graders who come from wealthier areas. So it takes more to get them up to speed.
Well, let me back up. So why, first of all, are kids in the cities skills behind? Why are they not equal to the other kids in the state?
I mean, it's probably a laundry list of reasons for that, including, the fact that poor kids have fewer opportunities. Even if they don't have the accessibility all the time to preschool. I mean, they come from single parent families, from families that are struggling to survive, as opposed to teaching the kid how to read prior to them entering the school system.
What they get in instruction time is different as well. In many cases, there are too many students in one classroom. There aren't paraprofessionals or an assistant teacher to assist with the level of students in the classroom. There aren't after-school programs that help students to get up to speed. All of these things that are very easily found within areas that are better funded.
Now, a couple questions. How much money is in this bill for Chicago public schools? Give me a round number.
Oh, I don't have the actual number how much would be available to the Chicago public schools. I mean, in a lump sum.
Okay.
The question seems to be this $215 million for the pensions, as well as this block grant of about $250 million.
The pensions are the bigger issue, and my belief is, yes, people are going to argue against having a block grant for Chicago in general. Like, you are going to hear downstate Republicans, you're going to hear people who aren't from Chicago have an argument against that. But when they tied it to the pension piece, my argument would be that made it dead in the water. Because at that point, you're not fighting for students anymore.
But there's also another important point, is that right now, teacher pensions are paid for by Springfield everywhere in the state of Illinois except the city of Chicago. In the city of Chicago, we have to pay for their pensions with our property taxes, and while at the same time, our state income taxes go into the big pool in Springfield, so we're paying for all those other teachers downstate and in the suburbs, as well as paying an additional tax to fund our own teachers' pensions.
So,
right, our teachers pay very little into their own pensions.
So I got a couple questions. First of all, out of all of this, I keep hearing you guys talk about students, right? Keep the student, but then it seems like more money is going to the pension. Is that correct?
And that's one of the reasons the governor doesn't want to sign the bill, because he says that the General Assembly should do a pension reform bill to reform all the pensions all over the state, and then he'll give Chicago the $215 million, but only after they deal with the pension issue.
Why is that illogical?
Because the Democrats right now will not deal with the pensions, the big pension question, because the unions are pressuring them not to do it.
But that also means that, and back to your point, Maze, your argument is no longer about the kids, because we could easily separate the pensions outside of this and then have their own pension bill. And I agree with Rauner on that, because the issue right now for CPS is the fact that we don't have enough to continue having schools going at this point. Students are, if the push is to make more students graduate from high school, if Rahm's going to talk about how students have to either be accepted to college, go to the military, or whatever, then you can't make that argument when you don't have enough money to fund the schools that they regularly need for their basic functions.
So then I have to ask, why are we waiting until a week before August 10th to deal with this issue? We knew this all the time.
Your word is stuntery. The governor's office is saying that the Democrats, although they passed the bill last May, would not send him to bill to veto it until yesterday really, so that there would be pressure for him to sign it. They don't want to negotiate anymore on this. They just want him to sign what they sent him. And he says it was a stunt to put him under pressure to sign the bill. That he doesn't want to sign without getting this bigger pension reform piece done.
It is a stunt. They're going to market it, and they're going to put poor black kids' faces on different campaign slogans and everything else around this bill. And Rauner's argument isn't against poor black kids or poor Latino kids in CPS. His argument is just against paying for these pensions in lieu of there being a better pension strategy. And to be honest, I agree with him on that. If you're really going to do this for the kids, then do it for the kids.
And they've got the Democrats out there saying, we've got to change the formula. The formula has to be changed.
Who wrote the formula?
Exactly.
Who wrote the formula?
Mike Madigan, who's been the power of all boys in Illinois for 34 of the past, whatever it is. He wrote the pension formula. He wrote the education funding formula, or certainly was there and signed off on it. And now he's trying to say that.
I heard him on the news yesterday say that it was the most unfair or the most something discriminatory pensions school funding formula in the country. And the only thing that kept coming to my mind was, who wrote it? Who wrote it? Who wrote it? Who wrote it? Were you there? Did you sign? Did you see this? Did it slip past you? Because again, we seem to have all of these super smart politicians who, when it's time to take accountability, they looking to blame someone else, but they did it themselves. Whether it's Navy Pier, whether it is this school pension funding reform, it's like the people who have been complicit in executing this are acting like they don't know that they did it. And so while our Attorney General is suing Betsy DeVos for taking away school options. What's going on in Illinois? Ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post to Facebook is 718 on the Talk Chicago.
More of the morning show with
These conversations are being held together because the pension issue is entirely separate from school funding. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, and how did the teachers get out? My question would be, how did the teachers get out of being funded? How did they ask to be separated out of the system, right? Out of the paying system. Because they got a better deal. You get teachers' pension. Right. So it's like, you say, take me out of that system because we ain't going to make as much. So now because you trusted your boys, and now your boys took your money and went out the back door and said, yo, go get it. Look, they said we can spend this because we can still take it. We can still take it from the Negroes. We can take it from the state. So now you telling me So now we got to pay $850 million on a $500 million loan, right? While the same people are still cutting the taxes of rich companies. So at the same freaking time that they are telling us about our freaking kids, they spent $500 million on police lawsuit settlements. They have we just heard they took $200 million off of the freaking Sears Tower this year. There should be a moratorium on any corporation getting any property tax breaks downtown. Like, nobody should get a tax break pay. This shit drives me.
Yeah, then the Chicago's running these high schools, with like Hirsch High School with 125 kids in it, in a building that houses 1,500 students. And you're sitting in the suburbs and you're looking at that and saying, well, why don't they close that school and move those kids to one and put the kids out?
No, because then they got to close that because they got to put the Chinese kids into the black school.
They don't want to. That's just it. Like, they do not want to mix the kids. They don't want to mix the communities. They're like, no.
So, they say, oh, it's gangs. Wait a minute.
You just don't want your kids to go.
So you're sitting up in Decatur and you're hearing about somebody going to make decisions about schools based on gangs? Criminals? And you supposed to send your money to that? No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You got to think.
CPS has always had more low-income students, more impoverished students, more minority students as a district than the rest of the state. So if the argument is that we need this special block grant now, why weren't we making that argument 30, 40 years ago? Like, we have always had this issue. That is Chicago.
I mean, when I read that quote,
we didn't just become black and broke.
I just felt like when he read that, when I saw that on Channel 7, and I was like, did he just really say we need to fix the most unfair property tax system in the country? Really?
Apologize then.
Really? Like, I was watching it like, am I in Bizarro World? Like, did you not pass this? You are the longest serving in history of anybody in the world, and now you don't know nothing about that? You don't know nothing about that. None. 40 years, hey, think about this. 40 years. He damn near was out there throwing bricks at Dr. King. Probably was. They marched. You know what? They marched through that neighborhood. We're back. Fortify my love. Fortify me. You should be mine. Anything you want, you got to fortify my love. Fortify me, you. Can you woo woo woo? Can you woo woo woo? Can you woo woo woo? Should be mine, oh mine. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Sonya, you are making me laugh. Got me going back. Well, I didn't know if this was for Ronnie Woo Woo or this was for our live broadcast and the Woo 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 contest. We might have to just start doing that on Fridays anyway. Can you woo woo woo? Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. And I am your host, Maze Jackson, sitting up here disgusted talking to Charles Thomas and Amisha Cross because, I am hearing all this talk about the unfair property tax and school funding reform. And, as I watched the news yesterday, I saw a quote from
our illustrious leader of the Democratic Party of Illinois, and he said that Governor signed the bill, we must reform the most unfair unfair school funding system in this country. And I was just like, kind of like, didn't you just get an award for being the longest serving speaker and the most powerful in the world, country, whatever, and now you don't know nothing about this?
And the reason why it is the most unfair, I'll agree with him on that. The reason why it is the most unfair isn't because of the property tax system. Actually, 47 out of the 50 states have property tax systems that fund their public schools. It is because the state itself does not allocate enough money to the school districts. The state has not taken up what it needs to in terms of funding allocation. That's what puts us where we are. There are other states that divert a lot more money to school districts than the state of Illinois.
So guys, I got a question, because you know this is how this is getting worked. So in about 5 days, probably starting now, but it'll wind up in about 5 days, we're going to have the good Reverend Dr. We Shall Overcome Forrest Claypool claiming racism, right? We're going to have the mayor talking about it. They get me some future. They got to start their school on time. And there's going to be this pressure to get kids to go back to school, but nobody cared for the last year. What did they do in Springfield for the whole year? And then when you tell me that they passed this budget, this bill 2 months ago and sat on it, and then had a special session, came back and sat on it another week, only to once again put black kids in front of the bullet and get you all mad. Now, you tell me, where were the people that represent you for all year, all summer? Now they telling you 10 days before your kids are supposed to go back to school, it's a crisis.
And why did the people who represent you roll with it and be okay with there being a pension piece attached to it? That's my main question, because you had to know it was going to get vetoed by and large because of that piece. Again, if it is about the kids, then leave it about the kids. These pensions have nothing to do with the kids.
Sure it does.
You know, the thing is, why does the black leadership in the legislature not separate themselves from this madness and stand up for their own children? That's the question that I have to ask. You know, when they talk about the conversation that's going on, you don't see any black people directly involved.
Yes,
in
you
the
do.
Who?
You see them standing right behind Senator Andy Menard.
They stand behind.
They stand behind Andy Menard, and they like, yeah, what he said.
But are they involved in the conversation directly, saying, hey, you can't use our black children as pawns in this?
You crazy? You know, we've been using black kids. You know, they'll sacrifice a black kid in a minute, bro.
Since Emil Jones left the leadership, you don't see any black people involved in the conversations.
Sure we are. Didn't you see? You didn't get that survey? I'm going to show you that survey I got yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. Let's go to the live lines. Ricky, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Well, first of all, somebody needs to make Chicago fund the schools fairly, because they don't. So they can't say anything about the state when they don't fund them fairly. They do whatever they can to tear down schools, and nobody's saying that. They tear down black schools purposely so they can make people move out of the community and they can take over the school. Dunbar is a class example. We're doing recruitment now because the board is just doing everything that they can to hurt us. So we're doing recruitment at Dunbar today at 12. And here's the problem I have, because we shouldn't have to do this. But we do, because the board doesn't care about us. They care about the union. And the black politicians, all of them, and I don't care if they get mad, none of them really deal with us, because they deal with who's going to help them get elected. Like the unions. The union gives them money. So first of all, Chicago is the only place, I didn't know it was a state, in the whole state, that's not under the state. And that needs to change. And Chicago, Ronnie Manuel, and I can't wait for Ronnie Manuel and Forrest Claypool to come on.
They not coming. They not coming, Ricky. Oh, no, they already. I saw the memo. The memo says no. Like, Mays and Charles, no. Let's go to Charlotte. You're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hello, this is Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte.
Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. There's so much to say one thing I want to encourage you to do is have someone from both sides, either sides of the issues, to speak to your audience. It's a lot more complicated in terms of what I'm hearing on the air right now. Let's just take school funding. For years, an inner city, poor and poorer school districts have received far less money than the richer suburban schools, public schools. And part of that reason is that the local taxes, the tax base is richer and fuller and better in the suburban schools for the local funding. That would mean that the state funds would have to be reappropriated, not the way they have been traditionally, but to compensate for what's missing in the poorer areas where the tax base is skinnier.
So, Charlotte, I got to go to break, but I guess isn't that why we elect our state reps and state senators, to fix that? So if the state funding, if it's inequitable, aren't they supposed to be our champions? Aren't they supposed to lead the charge to bring things to equity for our community?
15 seconds.
Okay.
And what about all the big skyscrapers downtown that are getting their taxes reduced, while homeowners cannot get them reduced to that degree? And what about all these TIF districts that have set up where the money is not really being used to help poor communities, like the Navy Pier deal?
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into the Talk of Chicago. It is 7:30. When we come back, we will continue this conversation. Plus, they're going to tell us a bold-faced lie right on the TV. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's our...
Yeah, this stuff is crazy, man. It's like, so you are going to wait until literally 10 days before. So what does a black parent trying to make a plan for their kid do? Right?
But the big question is, why do these black politicians allow this
chicanery
children to be used like that? Man.
Because it ain't their kids.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's not their kids. Like, I think that the fundamental thing nobody really grasps about Springfield, in the most part, is that the whole mentality is, as long as I can survive it, it's okay.
But it's not just Springfield. Northside white parents don't care either. Somebody who worked in education, going there to talk to their elected officials as well as their parents and families, they give no damns about black and brown children on the south and west side.
But why should they?
CPS.
Why should they? That's why we keep saying what's in it for the black people. Look, don't know why. The first thing a black person, you tell black people, let me tell you something. You go to a Latino school council meeting, them Latino parents care about Latino kids. They don't never say, what about the black kids? They don't say that. When you go up north, they don't say, 1 in 100 white kids goes to a failing school. 1 in 100. How does that happen? And 1 in 4 black and 1 in 22? How does it happen? Because they don't give no damns about their self-interest. So guess what? I'm up north. My schools are fine. We don't got to change nothing. Leave it the way it is. Go tell somebody black, man, we want to fix the schools. The next thing you know, we talk about black and brown, right? Next thing we doing, we talking black and brown. So let me tell you how black and brown works out. Black and brown works out with Uno getting 120 million, Uno and Aspira getting 120 millions, and they schools are up. And Donnie Trotter coming in here talking about we got $450 million, but we still can't get it. That's how it works out. That's how our kids get underfunded. That's how, because we still playing defense. We still allowing people to walk in here and say, I protect you. Yeah, right. Boogeyman bullshit politics. I'm protecting you. I is protected. What? Thank you. What are you? Well, shit. Is it a hole in the umbrella? Because I'm wet as hell. It's raining.
My thing is, if you're going to keep on complaining or talking about, and I think that there is a strong argument for black unemployment, specifically black male unemployment, but black unemployment across the state, that you have to go back and look at what we're doing with the schools. A lot of people are not going to be prepared. Not only not prepared for skills, but also not prepared for college. And not that college is for everybody,
But you still have to have some level of preparation to be able to get a job after you graduate. Our schools are not preparing black students for that, bottom line. And CPS hasn't for a very long time. And I think that there is something that needs to be done about that. We do need to look intrinsically. We also need to push our elected officials on that specific.
Come on, man. If I'm you, if I'm the mayor of Chicago and I'm already viewed as a foreigner, the last thing I'm doing is putting my kid in lab school unless I know something you don't. Right? Which is, I'm not feeding my kid to this beast. Right? And even if his kid goes to one of the 100, he ain't even willing to take that chance with his kids. Now think about black parents that don't have the choice. Right? That don't even have the, I am blessed. Right? And fortunate, and I'm not giving Catholic schools all the, but shit, it's something to say about stability. Let me tell you what we ain't talking about right now. I'm talking about how I gotta raise the tuition, but I ain't talking about will the school start, right? That's what you call a good problem to have in Chicago right now. And so, it's like, I feel like we gotta just make sure people are aware, like, don't be like, and it ain't even protecting Rauner. It's just like, they ran your kid. It's like, did you see New Jack City? Remember when he grabbed the little girl and when Nino Brown was getting ready to get shot and you thought he was trying to save the girl, but he was really using her as a bulletproof vest? That's what they're doing with our kids. Right? They are taking your kids, they are putting them in front, let them get shot, let them get, come on, man.
Well, it's the easiest way. Everybody knows that's the easiest way to put marketing strategy. Put some innocent face in front of it. Put an innocent child of color.
Put a pretty little black girl up there.
Here crying, whatever, about their education. My thing is, if this is about education, then let it be about that. Figure out a way to better
open the schools and let the teachers figure it out. Check this out, though.
Quit closing our schools.
How crazy is this, though? Teachers are willing to let the kids not come to school if they don't get their check. If they don't get their pension. We ain't heard CPS. What about the kids? Where's their future?
Well, the kids got the shaft. That's what
Again,
said.
This is not
Ron
about
said
the
kids got the shaft.
Teachers want.
I ain't tripping on the teachers, but I'm saying, don't talk to me about school supplies. Don't tell me the school supply story. You do not, look, if you ain't bring the kids to school and we gonna open the schools no matter what, do not talk to me about school supplies. Don't do
Is the
it.
mayor going to go lax on these extra requirements for kids post-graduation or to get their diploma? That's my question, because if we don't know if school's gonna start, then what is the point?
I keep telling you.
Oh, we need people
the
to
mayor is pushing everything to 2020 because he is up out of here. He is like, I'm done with y'all, so guess what? We about to get paid. That's why you see that's why he up here, they said in the paper, that debt will be $820 million. The doomsday plan is that we will owe $820 million extra dollars by 2020. What's special about 2020? He won't be there.
If you don't have the money or the supports to take care of the students you already have in the district, and you decide to add on more qualifications for them to actually get a diploma. Right now, with the diplomas they have, the majority of students are reading on 3rd and 4th grade level. The diplomas they got aren't worth crap.
Come on, man. I'm going to tell you, at U of I, if you came from CPS, you had a whole... If you went to U of I and you came from CPS, you had a whole pre-year of college. You was on a 5-year plan no matter what. Because they was like, they had a whole level of classes that nobody else even knew about.
Beg to plead for your sympathy.
I don't mind, cause you need that much to me.
Ain't too proud to
beg. Hey, sweet darling,
please don't
leave me. Please don't leave. Please, baby, please don't leave me, girl. Now this murder crime man is half a man.
With no sense of pride. But if I
have to
keep it, I don't mind weeping if it will keep you by my side.
You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio, as well as Amisha Cross on her final Tuesday. On a Tuesday. We are in the studio on a Tuesday blowing it up. We were discussing this Senate funding SB1. Charles, I likened it to the movie New Jack City. I don't know if you all remember the scene when the Italians came to shoot up Nino Brown and he ran out and grabbed the little girl, and we thought that he was going to grab the little girl to save her, but he was really using her as a bulletproof vest. That is exactly how I feel black children are being used in this political fight over SB1.
That's not bad. I mean, that is bad, but it's a pretty good description of what's going on. The kids are being used as pawns in this political battle that's been roaring and raging in Illinois for the past, I don't know, a long time.
You know,
same.
I told you, I believe that the premise of both parties is to see how much can we squeeze the Negroes to see how long it takes for them to holler. Do you think we are anywhere close to hollering yet? Or are we going to, you know what, we going to be pointing the finger saying, you know what, those Republicans.
I think the cloak is still, the wool is over the eyes. I don't think that we've reached that hollering point yet. And in large part, I think that it's because the Illinois Democrats carry the water very well in terms of reshaping the narrative around what's actually going on. Right now, everything is being blamed on Rauner. The reason that this is falling apart, the reason that kids won't be able to start school on time, the reason that there's no funding for CPS, all of this lays at the feet of Governor Rauner, when there is no real understanding of, or it doesn't look like there's an understanding of, all of the years prior that led us to this point. CPS has had underfunding issues for a very long time, much longer than the tenure of Governor Rauner.
And you know, the thing is, the Republicans don't seem to have any ability to reach out to the black community and make their case. They just don't do it. They don't seem like they care at all. So we're just out here on a lifeboat.
See, Charles, that's why I keep telling you, come home from the Republican Party.
Come home.
Come on home, man. Come on home.
I'm independent, man.
I keep telling you, there's no such thing as an independent black man. This is not a free state.
Man,
this is not a free state.
Free state.
This is a purple state, right? You got to get over Waukegan before you can get free around this mud. You got to make it to Wisconsin. You got to make it Wisconsin to Canada.
Those black codes still in effect in Illinois.
Let's go to the live lines. Ronald, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Ronald. You're on the Talk of Chicago.
Hey, what's going on? Maze, but everyone seems to forget that the state is the one that started this ball rolling when they give control of the school district to Daly. And from then on, the money been mismanaged by the city. So basically, you got two parties to blame, the city as well as the state. Number one, no one wants to talk about the lottery money that was supposed to be used for education of the school. No one talks about that. And everyone will blame Romney. Look at Michael Madigan. He's sitting up there smiling like, we don't care. And then our black officials, ain't none of them call a meeting dealing with this bill. None of these state officials or these new black so-called caucus has not even called a meeting from the alderman on to the state official for people in their district to let them know what's really going on. So basically, they don't care neither. All they're looking for is trying to get reelected.
You know what, Ronald? I think that there's a bunch of meetings upon meetings to strategize about how to stop what we're discussing, but not how to stop the people that are doing it to us. You know, Charles, I feel like so many times black folks are focused on you highlighting the issue instead of dealing with the issue. So more people would be like, get Mays and Charles, they just starting trouble. They just some troublesome Negroes. They not supporting us.
Right, they're not supporting us. I don't support that.
But I mean, if you would support, how about support your people? There seems to be some confusion as to who's supposed to be on whose side.
But you know, this brother makes excellent point. You mean this? We got 10 days to get this dealt with, and our black political leadership is not out front talking about what's in it for the black people. They should be out there right now talking about what's in it or not in it.
Because it's not about what's in it for the black people. Remember,
what is it about?
It's gonna be
what's in it for their next election.
No, it's gonna be what's in it for your personal pocket, right? Like this is in the internal hate, self-hate, instead of the internal will to collectively build and say what's our self-interest, has permeated our people. Charles, it goes back to our point of they are more concerned with what the party says than what the constituency says. You're going to see it play out in a lot of different ways, but we've got to ask, what is the track record of the people that are trying to tell us who to listen to? I'm just saying, Charles, think about Nino Brown and think about these people holding your kids up. Let's just pretend that Bruce Reynolds got the gun. Your elected officials are holding your babies up to be shot.
So they can survive.
So they can survive and tell you, ooh, it was Scaramucci's who did it. The mooches came in, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. I think this might be my main man, Jacob, all the way from Houston. Jacob, is this you? Jacob? Jacob, going once. Going twice. Gone. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. Charles, I don't know if you saw in the news yesterday, Mayor Emanuel got up and told us that, like he said, he told us so, that the city's budget was balanced.
Yeah, he tried to put a positive spin on what he said was a $114 million deficit. Only a $114 million deficit, and that he had done such a wonderful job over these past 6-7 years of reducing the deficit from nearly $700 million all the way down to $114 million. However, he didn't count monies that the city is going to need to pay for union contracts if in fact they are settled over the next year, and the additional cost of hiring more police officers, which he's made that promise or that commitment. So this really is probably closer to a $200 plus million dollar deficit.
But he just told us that he was the man and that we didn't have. Now, he also, did they talk about him raising the cell phone tax too?
Oh yeah, that's good. That's been authorized by the state legislature during this past session.
He gonna make me put my phone down for real.
Yeah, he gonna make you put your phone down. Ron's gonna make you put your phone down. Right. I mean, that's gonna happen, folks. It's gonna be about another $1.80 a month for each line that you have. Is it $1.80? Yeah, it's gonna go up to around $5 or something like that.
And to add insult to injury, we just, apparently our city clerk released an RFP yesterday for the municipal ID program. Now let me tell you what it doesn't do. It's not federal, so it won't give you any federal, it's not legal federally. They will require minimal info. It will not ask your documented status, your immigration status. They will not retain your personal information. It will not contain your address. It will allow you to self-declare whether you are LGBTQ. And the mayor said that he couldn't think of a more important thing to do.
Nothing more important than that. That's that important.
I just want to know what WTF is the purpose of the ID that's not federal, takes minimal information, does not declare your status, does not keep your personal information, does not contain your address, and allows for you to declare your LGBTQ status. And we're going to spend millions of dollars on this for what?
So if all those things aren't on it, then what is on it?
You know what? We're going to talk about that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:47 on the Talk of Chicago, and if you're confused, join the club, because I am too. We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Mace Jackson coming up.
It is. No, what this is the beginning of voter fraud 2.10.
Can you use it to get? Can you use it to like?
Remember, they don't want to have any voter ID requirement.
I have an address to register.
But I'll tell you what this is, man.
This is the hardcore
Watch your
push.
LGBTQ status
But
back.
actually what this is, let me tell you what this is for real. I'm going to break this down and I'm going to just give you This is the city clerk who was a wholly owned creation of Rahm Emanuel, who is not from Chicago, has no street cred, has no base and no organization. Steel City down, like way downstate, like Carbondale-ish area. Has no base in Chicago, but has to have something to run on to establish credibility in the face of a mayor who is so it's, you know, the traditional way it works is mayor, Latino, black, right? So we got this rainbow coalition ticket. But now they're all looking around and saying, Ron might not make it. What do I have to stand on? What am I going to be able to claim? But where they're making the mistake is that they going after the Latinos. Every time I see that municipal ID, it's gonna piss me off. It's gonna make me pissed off, and I'm gonna go get one just so I can show it on the camera and be like, what? So after I get a driver's license, a passport, what is the purpose of this? You are creating a city discount card. Look, they telling you get discounts on it.
It's only gonna be worth it to go to the place you can get discounts. Because no place else is gonna validate this thing. Like it doesn't have any identifiers.
Does it allow me to get into a bar? Is it ID official enough to let me get in the bar?
I don't know. Is
right?
It?
And
is it?
What? But think about the fact that they're doing this in the face of everything that is going on.
But is it? Can it get you in a bar?
He's leaving town.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He's gonna be.
I mean, might be able
running
to.
shit. Really running shit. Ships.
I got another theory about what it is.
I can make you put
My theory is much more diabolical than yours. You are basically saying, when you do sanctuary city and you do IDs, you are basically saying to every person in a huddled mass somewhere yearning to be free to come to Chicago. We will provide for you and protect you.
We
will kill the black people while we're at it.
We are already the city with the largest amount of, and it's been quoted, of undocumented immigrants, period, in the country.
And
so we already have that.
What it does is, but this is also the city that has lost more population of all the top 10 in the country. It is also the state that has the largest out-migration. So what happens is the Democratic Party powers that be are trying to get people to come to Illinois to make up for all the people they are losing because of failed public policy. They come here and the census counts those people. So your state, your Congress members stay the same, your state rep districts stay the same, your electoral college votes remain the same.
Latino undocumented immigrants, which I thought was interesting because I thought it'd be somewhere in Texas.
Right. Well, no, you can't be in sanctuary in Texas. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio, as well as Amisha Cross. It's our millennial moment. It is, it's being refined as we speak because Amisha's going to set some public policy for black folks in D.C. So we want to see you fly and be successful. But in the meantime, Chicago is going crazy. Because I'm here to tell you, I'm confused. So let me just say this again. In case you missed us in the last break, the city of Chicago issued an RFP yesterday for the municipal ID program that is not federally recognized, will require minimal info, does not tell your documented or undocumented status, does not contain your personal information, will not contain your address, and allows you to self-declare your gender. What the hell is the purpose?
Maze, I got a theory. Okay, my theory is that the city of Chicago is advertising to all of Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Salvador, everywhere, and to cities all over the country. Hey, to undocumented people, come to Chicago. We will welcome you. We will protect you. We will help you. We'll give you an ID. We'll give you city services. In other words, they're advertising. They want people to come here by the thousands. Why? Because we're losing people by the thousands. We're hemorrhaging people who are leaving this place because of failed public policy and other reasons. But the undocumented can come. And remember, an undocumented person counts in the census. They can't vote, but they count.
Well, they're going to be able to vote now.
Well, no,
remember we have these. Remember, Charles, they said no.
You're speculating that they're going to be able to vote. That card will not let you vote.
That card will, but they're not asking for ID anymore.
You can't vote.
To vote.
Well, they're not asking for you to vote for it to vote, but they do asking for you to register, though.
Listen to this. Listen to this. If they get these people here, let's say they get enough people to replace all those who have left.
Black people.
Suddenly, they still have their 2.7 million, which means they still have the same number of people in Congress. They still have the same number of electoral college votes. That they still get the same amount of federal grants because they still have the same number of people. But
they get a
the people can't vote, which means that black people are gone. They left. You got all these new people who do the numbers for you, but they can't vote, which puts white people back in the majority.
What about
bam?
What about
bam?
What about
there
criminality?
you go.
What about criminality?
Oh.
Because at the end of the day, how am I to track you? It doesn't have an address. It doesn't have whatever you claim your gender to be. What if? There's no real identifiers on this card. So at any given point, if you do something and this is all that's left, I don't know who you are at all.
I mean, I think that's the point. I think what we need to do, Todd, you got to get the clerk on the phone. And they got to get the clerk in the studio because fundamentally, I need to understand this because there is no purpose for this.
Maze, you've worked in polling places before. That's what used to be your business. You know that if you're a poll watcher for the Republicans or the Democrats or whomever, and somebody comes in with one of these cards and uses that as their ID, you are going to scream bloody murder. They're not going to be able to vote with these cards. They don't want them to vote.
So, Charles,
they want them to work for lower than livable wages and just be there to get the numbers up.
So I'm going to suggest to you, Charles, that having worked in a polling place and having a complete deep knowledge of how the polling place and the judge works, if I control the judges and say I live in a place like the 14th Ward, I'll vote. I would let them vote. And I'm going to tell you that, remember, they are now taking away, they're trying to take away the requirement that you even have to provide ID to vote.
But do you think that the powers that be want them to vote?
I think
no. They don't want them to vote. And they don't want them to vote because how do you think Edward continually gets elected in the 14th Ward? Or the guy in the 13th Ward? Or even Deb Mell?
I think they keep the numbers low, but
because the white folks are voters and the Latinos can't vote.
But Charles, I do think that there is a growing group of Latinos that are starting to move, that second generation. So when that second generation comes, what they want to do is have them wholly owned. They want to be able to say that once that kid that's born here becomes of age, I'm just going to say, I've been to a polling place.
That's true, but I got to tell you, coming from a blended family that has Latinos in it, a lot of Latinos morph into white people in the second and third generations.
I'm with you.
Republicans.
I'm with you, but I don't think that the Democrats have learned that because, Charles, if that was the case, then we would not have heard John Podesta telling us that there is a new coalition that they are looking to build and expand it, and they learned it, right? But again, it goes back to my point, which is black folks are the only people right now who feel like they do not have a political choice. Not you, but in general, most black folks feel like they have to vote Democratic, right? Every other group, votes their self-interest.
Right.
We have to vote because we vote on history, not current. And that's really all I'm saying. Let's go to the live line real quick. Ray, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Does that include people from Haiti or people that are considered to be quote unquote brown skinned?
So Ray, when you say does it include, everybody can get the ID, but what we do know is that there is not a massive influx of Haitians, right? You don't have hundreds of thousands of Haitians coming in. So here's my thing. Black folks, don't call me up. You can call and say, and I do believe that the immigration stuff affects everybody. But the fact of the matter is, we know what the intent is here. Yes, there are going to be a few Polish, a few Africans, but in wholesale, this policy is not about black people coming from the Caribbean or Africa. This is about people coming from south of our border, coming and repopulating Illinois. They are not counting on black people from Haiti to repopulate Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I got to go to break, but when we come back, we are going to talk, you know what? He's a Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans, commander of the Naval Service Training Command. We'll be back.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation. 1690.
The dude told me this morning to spell this dude's name with an A. How you get A, Steven, this morning?
Huh?
You told me to spell his name with an A.
I said Steven with a P.
Huh?
I said Steven with a P.
I thought you said A too.
You gotta get that
Hey, Mace, did you ever have that meeting with Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So she'll come on then?
She said she would.
All right, let's make it happen. Okay, so he is coming in. He's here. He is getting a new command. He's going to Virginia in a couple of weeks, and he's going to be in charge.
Or you at Charles, you could just, actually, you could just move him
he's
right
going
there.
To be in charge
You just
of
scoot over a little bit and just
strategic strike force. So he's going into some shit.
I think Trump won despite his immigration conversation. What, 27%?
I hate when people bring up like that caller did, because the amount of Haitian immigrants in the city of Chicago is less than 2%. Period. Black undocumented immigrants aren't just flocking to the city of Chicago in large droves. Yes, this municipal ID does cover them, but there's so few. It wasn't designed for them.
Well, I can get a municipal ID, or Maze can, or you can.
Yeah.
And, so, what is it?
Hello, sir. How are you? Maze Jackson. Nice to meet you. All right.
Amisha Cross.
I'm Charles. How are you, sir?
Let's make sure he has a good chair, please. Let's put him right here.
They're all good chairs, Mr. Jackson.
Okay.
We wouldn't have anything less there except probably the one you're sitting in there.
So what's going to be your life after the Navy?
He's not. He's getting ready to go kick off some more.
Hopefully, I'll be able to keep positively impacting people's lives. That's what my hope is. What that means, I don't know.
Well, you want to tell your security he can come in? He can come in if he wants to. Is he the driver?
That's my public affairs.
Oh, I was going to say, does he drive you too?
No, I got the drivers.
Do you got a black driver or a white driver?
No, he's a white driver.
Yeah, get him in. We want to see it. The brother is in control. You know what? I got to keep him straight and tight. I got to move this.
Okay.
Please.
Any points that you definitely want to hit today?
No, we'll go where we're going to go. I just can't talk politics.
Politics?
I can't talk politics. Okay.
Politics. So you can't talk Trump?
I can't talk any elected officials.
You'll be all right.
I just can't talk any elected officials.
Putting it right there is going to still put me in the block.
And
you don't block Amisha now.
And I tell you, in all fairness, just say it. If some question seems to be too political,
and I will.
Just say it.
I will.
That's all you got to do.
I will.
And then we'll dance. Because hey.
No?
You need to turn it
But
on.
I was correct when I said
Thank you.
that anybody who joins the Navy has come through Great Lakes.
That's right. Every enlisted person who enters our Navy comes through Great Lakes.
Except like Annapolis people, they don't.
Those are officers. So officers,
enlisted person.
Yeah, enlisted person.
Okay.
So every enlisted person up to 40,000.
But an officer
So
But
make sure you need to
most
school.
of your
Charles, you need to come.
most of your officers don't actually go
I
to
need you to come
Annapolis.
this way.
No,
Need you
no,
to
no,
come
no,
this
most
way.
of no.
Those would have come through Great Lakes.
No.
Scoot this way, please.
This way, sure.
Thank you. And I need you, brother, to do me a favor so I can get your face.
Okay.
So just we'll have it.
Should the mic be on this side, man?
I'm putting it in. Hold on.
So no.
Yeah, everybody, I can see everybody.
Officers, whenever you assess his officers, is through either the Naval Academy in Annapolis.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work the mic kind of close, so
Okay.
it's gonna be
through ROTC, at any college, university across the nation where we have a ROTC program, or through our.
You wouldn't have to go to Great Lakes now.
No.
Okay.
No.
So you've been there since 2015.
That's
and
right.
Okay.
So when did you join the Navy?
Favor again, right? So you can work it close, but I need it to be.
Okay.
What year you joined the Navy?
1986.
1986. 31 years ago. My goodness. Man.
How old are you, brother?
52.
Okay, good.
What kind of ship did you work on?
Well, I've been on several ships. I've been on aircraft carriers. I've been on cruisers and destroyers. Cruisers and destroyers, man. I commanded a destroyer.
A destroyer, man. You might. Man, you commanded a destroyer?
I did, yeah.
Man, that's great.
Did you destroy anything?
What did you think when you
Yes, no. Did you destroy anything?
Did we destroy anything?
Did you destroy anything?
Yeah, not on that ship now.
Okay.
When you read that story about that freighter hitting a Navy ship, what? Not that you know,
Right.
but how could something like that even remotely happen?
Well, we don't know. I mean, that's the investigation's in progress on that. So, but I mean, that's a tragic event that happened.
That makes me feel very nervous.
It's,
That if a military ship can be taken out by a freighter, right? I understand everybody was asleep, but I would think that this ship got every warning, defection, beep 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 beep. Hello, ship approaching. Something. It's got to be somebody stays up overnight.
Comes, man. I mean, you don't.
we have detections for ships. We have detections for torpedoes. I mean, you would think that these things wouldn't happen. And like I said,
Something nefarious, you think?
Yeah. So usually, I'll just say usually in these matters, when something like that happens, there's some lapse in there's some human error involved. And I think that's probably what they're gonna determine here. So we'll see what the investigation says.
I'm gonna talk about the service too. The service as a career.
Mm-hmm.
What made you go?
Well, I was in college at the Citadel down there in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, so it was in your blood, bro.
Well, I grew up in the military. My dad was a Marine, so I grew up in the military. So it's kind of in my blood. But I fought it for a long time too. So when I went to college, I was going to go to law school. That was my goal. And then at the Citadel, which is a military college, I kind of got talked into serving for a couple of years, and so I said I'll give my country a couple of years of my life. Since it had been responsible for everything I had up to that time, the military. So I decided I would join the Navy for 3 years.
What is the award that you are the most proud of that you're wearing on your chest?
Ooh, I would say it was probably the Navy Commendation Medal. It's the first award that I earned, and that one normally you earn a Navy Achievement Medal first, but my first award that I earned was the Navy Commendation Medal on my first ship.
Sorry, we're getting ready to come back. This should be a very good conversation, very interesting. So thank you for coming in. Hey, remember, I gotta get a flight on the. Can you hook a brother up with a flight on the Blue Angels for the Air and Water Show? Help a brother out. Come on, man. What's up?
I'll see what I can do. No promises, though.
Hey, let your booty do it. Oh, I got a soldier, so I gotta be like. No yoga? No yoga? Come on, man. You gotta do a little bit of something. You gotta give us something. Come on, man. Come on. Loosen up. Come on. Come on, man. You gotta smile. You blow stuff up for a living. Have a good time. Boom, baby, bend over. Baby, bend over.
Baby, bend over. Let me see you do yoga. Baby, bend over. Baby, bend over. Baby, bend over. Let your booty do the yoga. Flex. Flex. Bend and never break. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I am your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Now, you know we cannot fly the soul plane without the team. So in the newsroom, I've got Annette Flournoy. But you know, the musical director, Miss Sonia Escobar. Because you know, when you hear this song at 8 o'clock, you know we are in the 8 o'clock stretch. And you know it's time to turn on YouTube and Facebook Live, because why? Charles Thomas is doing the old man yoga under the table. Really? So you know he's man yoga. You see, you know you got the Daniel sign. You know you Mr. Miyagi. So you don't really do stuff above the table, but we know your feet are moving underneath the. And you know what?
Then I have a confession to make.
What, Charles?
I can be at home doing whatever, and this song will come to mind, and I just hate myself for it.
But then you break out of yoga.
No, I don't do anything. I said, whatever. Yeah, it's aggravating. It's just so aggravating. But I guess you know the fans love it. So
you know we got some lovers, we got some haters. But as long as they watch and listen, that's all we really care about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to tell you that I am fired up. Right? I'm fired up because live in the studio, you know, we got a high-ranking brother, right? You know, I love to ask the question, what's in it for the black people? And very rarely do we get the answer from someone so distinguished and with so much rank. So I want to welcome into our studio Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans, commander of the Naval Service Training Center. Now, for most of y'all that may not know what that means, that's the Great Lakes Naval Base up north. And you know what I did not know, Charles? I did not know that everybody that goes to the Navy has to check in with this brother.
Every enlisted person, my brother, right? Everybody who enlists in the Navy has to basically be trained at the station led by this brother.
Now, brother, so does this mean that you are like the HN? No, let me see. The HRAIC, right?
He's the HNIC of the Navy, right? Head of the training.
That's correct.
I love it. Yes. You know what? You got to claim it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me one more time introduce from the United States Navy, Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans. He's commander of the Naval Service Training Command, which is the Great Lakes Base. But boy, you have a pretty distinguished career, and I'm just say, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, sure. Maze, let me say thank you very much for having me here this morning, and it's great to always be representing the Navy. You know, I grew up from humble beginnings. I'm the son of a United States Marine. I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina. You know, I'm just a country boy, and had the opportunity to join our Navy very early in life. And I've been given some great opportunities. So I've served all around the world on cruisers, destroyers. The Navy's taken this history major and turned me into an engineer. And so I've been a weapons system engineer. I've been a propulsion engineer. And now I sit and I oversee our Navy Service Training Command, which 98% of everybody who comes into the Navy, both officer and enlisted, every single enlisted sailor comes in through Great Lakes. And then our officers who come in through our ROTC program at our colleges and universities across the nation, and then our officer candidate school in Newport, Rhode Island. So our domain is vast, you know, and totally includes students, over 100,000 young men and women across the country in our programs, because it's not just about our active force. We also do our Navy Junior ROTC program, which you see in colleges, in high schools across the nation. So it's really a great opportunity for me, and I just get excited every day.
So Admiral Evans, talk to me about why does a young black man today join the Navy?
Well, that's very easy. It's about opportunity. I have had so much opportunity to not only just serve, but to experience life, to grow, develop, to learn things. The Navy is a highly technical organization. So anyone who's interested in learning technical things, the Navy is the way to achieve that. And so we have young men and women all across the nation, African Americans who are joining our Navy. 17% of our enlisted force is African American, and these are young men and women who are doing great things for our country all around the world.
What if you had any problems growing up before you had to join the Navy? Criminal record, does that preclude you?
It possibly, I can be quite honest with you, Charles, it possibly could, depending on what that is. But the Navy is an equal opportunity organization, so we can work through that. But I would not say that should prevent anybody from at least making the attempt if they want to serve.
Admiral Evans, talk to me about what were the skills that you had to get to the level that you're at.
Well, I started out very early. It's about leadership, but it's about proving yourself. It's about meeting and exceeding the standards. Well, you always have to exceed the standard if you're going to move up, right? So it's not just about meeting those minimums. It's about excelling. It's about when competing against other people. You don't have to push them down to get over them, but by doing just more, you're showing yourself above. It's about breaking out. And so I've been able to do that. Every job the Navy's given me, I've been able to excel and doing the best job I can. I mean, my father used to tell me when I was growing up, he said, "Son, if you care enough to do it yourself, you got to do the best job that you can do," and that's what I've tried to do.
You've been in the Navy 30 years. Tell us about the difference between the recruits of 3 decades ago and the recruits today.
Well, societal changes. Charles, are different. Back when I came in, it was more about following orders. I mean, when I was given an order to do something, I just went and did it. I didn't ask any questions. The thing I love about today's youth is they ask a lot of questions.
You love that?
I do indeed. I do. It shows a curiosity. It also shows that helps us as leaders better articulate why we're doing things and think about it ourselves. Because if you're going to have somebody do something, you're going to order them to do something, especially go into harm's way. You ought to be able to defend that.
Well, I mean, if a military person says take that hill, and I say why, I mean, I don't. You'd rather see it that way?
Well, I'd rather me have already explained that to them before we start charging that hill. But they should know that.
Wait. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
You charge hills in the Navy?
Yeah.
I thought you went to the Navy to stay on the boat. I just want to be clear, because I showed.
No, you don't. You straight, man. I got you.
Amisha, you had a question?
Yeah, you've seen the growth of the amount of women who enlist within your ranks. What has that been like? And when you're talking to these new recruits about possibly sexual harassment and other issues around working with these women, like how does that go into play with what you do and how you work with them?
Yeah. That's a great question. When I entered the Navy, we didn't have women on board our combatant ships, our cruisers and destroyers, and that was an integration that took place during my time in the Navy. And I think it's one of the greatest things we've done.
I bet.
It has improved the professionalism of our Navy. As I see it, whenever you put men and women in an environment like that, where you have highly skilled men and you have highly skilled women, and it raises the game of everybody. So what I saw is when you did that, it did two things. Number one, it prevented boys from being boys. When boys, when left to their own devices, will do silly stuff all the time. But when you start integrating women, especially women who are highly motivated and who are smart, bright, and they're very capable, it raises the game, because I like to say boys, no matter what age they are, don't like being beat by girls. So they're going to work harder. So everybody works harder, standards raised, and we were able to do a lot more. So I think it's a wonderful thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans. He is the commander of the Naval Service Training Center. In case you're confused, that's the Great Lakes Base. Y'all, it's a brother in charge of everybody. We are excited to be talking to him right here on the Talk of Chicago. Up next, traffic and weather. When we come back, we will continue with Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans.
More of the morning show with Mace Jackson coming up.
So when we come back, right, one of the things, and I don't want you to answer it, but I do
want to talk about. When I was coming up, we weren't it was during the Rodney King era. Oh, you're more than welcome to come in. Make yourself at home. Matter of fact, go stand over here real quick. We want to get you on things so we can say he the boss. Come on. Stand right there.
I'm not supposed to be on camera.
Okay, well, just walk past.
Okay.
Just walk past. Right? Just so y'all know, the brother is the boss. The brother is in charge. So let me ask you a question, right? And I want you to think about it for when we come back. But when I was in college, it was right during the Iraq War and everything was going on, and we discouraged brothers from going to the service. As a matter of fact, going to the service, you almost was like helping the man. In the face of everything that is going on right now with Black Lives Matter, with the people that we're seeing, are you having a challenge encouraging black youth to join the service? Don't answer me now, but I want you to think about that, because I think there's a right. Yeah. What's up, Tom?
So just wanted to start formulating. Here's what we got going on
Going to the
tomorrow.
military was something that was ingrained in a lot of people.
Okay.
So,
Do I need to do this now?
Well, we should do it at 8:30.
Oh.
Okay. So just get the promo, get the thought in your head, so we'll do it now. You know what I mean? We got Lauren Maltz, she's the board chairman of the Friends of the Parks. We got Edwin Eisendrath from the Sun Times. We got Dina Griffin and Mike Stressman's coming in.
Okay.
So he's coming in. She's on the phone.
How long are they coming in for? 30 minutes?
I look at, man, these guys that go to the military, whether they come from rural,
Oh, right.
inner city America, whatever that is.
Okay.
I know the true heroes, man.
And we can keep the Admiral to the 47 break.
Oh, that'd be great. I think it'll work.
And we definitely want to talk about after the 30 what his next mission is, because it's very cool. I was talking to the guys in the other room. I think it's pretty cool. And then during the 30 break, I'll come in and ask, hey, did you ask him for your favorite? Okay.
And that's the PR guy, right?
Yeah.
So between both of y'all, I gotta get in the air, man. Gotta get in the air. Gotta get in the air.
You know,
PR guys aren't
all about the experience, and that's what I as I talk about
water show for the media.
You know, it's
You guys connect for that?
Yeah, I do.
Come on, let the brother.
Most people serve, want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to join something.
And at last case scenario,
a part of, they want a purpose.
The Blue Angels are single seater, so it's just a pilot.
Oh, okay.
But give me your card or something, and I'll pass it.
Man, I'll pump it up super good, but I gotta get in the air.
I want to get him in a jet. He wants to jump out of an airplane. I said, you can jump out of an airplane anytime. When can you get me a multi-million-dollar jet?
Okay, that'd be good stuff.
Or transferring. So you stay in the Navy.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to just grab. I'm just gonna take some pictures and then.
Well, this will be our 19th.
You know what's pretty cool though is that you never think like you get a job of PR in the Army. So do they call it PR or do they call it propaganda?
It's transitional
No,
process.
so public relations and public affairs are two very different things. Public relations, you know, in the corporate civilian world, is
when I got in, I found that
you associate kind of with marketing.
People's lives.
Public affairs, this is really a community service that we do. We want to tell the Navy story so that the community understands us better.
Okay.
And, you know,
some of
obviously
them
that
have
has a
never been a
trickle
part
down
of
effect
anything where
for
they really
us.
felt that
Our main
they
mission is
contributed,
transparency
or some of them
and education.
that anyone ever told them that they were good at something. And so being able to help them set goals and accomplish things they never thought they would be able to accomplish before, and then seeing the pride and satisfaction.
All right, guys, I'm coming back.
Motivating for me.
And you know you can't survive is when you feel like hope is gone.
Mariah's voice today.
Inside you and be strong, and to find to see in truth that a hero lies in you. It's a long road. Face the world. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. Amisha Cross, our millennial moment, y'all. She's leaving. She's going all the way to Washington, D.C., but she is going to be setting educational policy for black folks. Plus, in the studio, we have Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans. He is the commander of the Naval Service Training Center, Naval Service Training Command, better known as the Great Lakes Base. Charles, you got a question?
Yeah, because you just mentioned Amisha is leaving to go to Washington. The Admiral was telling me that he's married, has 2 children, but you've moved 19 times in 30 years?
That's correct.
Wow. What's that like?
Well, each move is new and exciting, but you know, each move is a new job, a new opportunity, and we have, as a family, you know, kind of weathered through that, and it's really brought us closer together. But each move we see as an adventure.
What about the kids, though, man? 19 moves in 30 years. How does that work for your kids?
Well, sometimes it's hard, especially I think with girls. I mean, because you know, as girls start getting their teenage years, you know, it gets harder for them to get into new groups when we move. But my girls are real resilient, and right now they're older now. They're out of college now, and they're great. They're great young women, and I'm very proud of them.
So, Admiral, how am I supposed to address you officially? Admiral, Rear Admiral, Chief, Your Honor, Captain. Boss, you tell me. Look, man, because you know you push buttons, so I just want to get it right. Tell me, how do we show you respect?
Well, my rank is Rear Admiral, but you can call me Admiral, or you can just call me Stephen.
I'm calling you Admiral because I'm excited to know I know an Admiral, and a black one at that. That's another thing I think your Black history. Let me ask you a question. When I was coming up in college, and it was during the Iraq War, we were discouraging black youth from joining the Army, Navy, or the service. Now it seems like we're back at that point again. Are you having challenges recruiting black people to the Army, to the Navy in the face of Black Lives Matter?
Really amazed that we're not. We're actually doing very well with our recruiting, and it's a sense that, I mean, you know, this is our nation. It's all of our nation. In defense of that nation is something that has to happen. You know, they say, you know, freedom isn't free. So are we going to be a part of that or not? And we have to. And I think more people than not are choosing that they want to be a part of that.
Some folks say we aren't free.
Well, that's true. But Charles, I'd say I've been all around the world. I visited over 85 countries in my Navy career and through my lifetime. And I think if you step out of this country and you visit some other places, you get a real sense that while we have our issues, we live in the greatest nation in the world. We have freedoms and liberty that other people could only dream of.
Let me ask you a question. Have you experienced racism in your career in the Navy? And if you did, how did you overcome it?
I'll be quite honest with you. Yes, absolutely. I think that's another fabric of our nation. Very early in my career, you know, when I was growing up, I experienced very blatant discrimination. For me, it was a test. You know, and am I going to let somebody push me out of something that I want to be doing or should be doing, or do I want to, do I want to overcome that and get beyond it? I chose to overcome it and get beyond it. So perseverance was a word that I internalized, and when people told me I couldn't do something, I just got mad. I started running faster, running harder, and I got through it.
Amisha?
What do you think are some of the intangibles that you've taken away from your experience?
Well, I'd say a lot of them were that you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish in life. If you want if you can conceive it, you can believe it, you can achieve it. You work hard, and then also just being able to again, this is a great country we live in, and so I think that and the other big thing about it is that I'd say our Navy is a land of opportunity, and I think one of the things that our Navy has given me is a sense that in it there are the diversity of our nation is there, and if there, as it's represented there, we kind of coalesce there, and we accomplish great things, and we do it together. We have common shared values, and we're able to do the things we need to do.
I'm sure you track this kind of information, but how are blacks doing as officers in the Navy in terms of the percentage of officers as it relates to the percentage in the population?
Okay. We have in our officer in our Navy 7% of our Navy officer corps is African American.
African American, black.
7%.
So, so it's 7% of the. Do you see the Navy as an opportunity for blacks to advance economically?
Yes, absolutely. I would not. I'd say you're working for the government.
How much you make?
You work for the government, so you're never going to be rich, right?
How much you make?
What's the matter of public record?
Right, so you can tell us. So you ain't got to make me look.
But I get paid enough to live comfortably.
Okay.
If I manage my money correctly, I can live comfortably. I'm not going to be rich, of course, because I work for the government. But again, by saving and investing my money wisely, I'm doing all right.
So what about the SEALs, man? The Navy SEALs. Most of them probably came through Great Lakes at some point in their careers, right?
All the enlisted folks, yeah, absolutely.
But that's a real tough job. How do you get to that level? I mean, that's the romantic part of the whole military piece.
Well, the Navy SEALs are our elite group of young men right now. Hopefully, one day women also will join that group. And but they are, they're all physically fit. We know that. But the big thing with the SEALs is that mental toughness. Is being able to come up against that wall, that barrier, and then fight to get through it, get over it, get under it, and they build that into the SEALs, and that's what makes them that unique fighting force that they are.
So, Admiral, see, I like saying that. Admiral Evans, look, we have to go to news, traffic, and weather, but when we come back, I want to know what's next. They tell me you're leaving Great Lakes, but we want to know what's next. I'm excited to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1698. We are talking to Admiral Stephen C. Evans. He is the commander of the Naval Service Training Command, better known as Great Lakes. And y'all, I'm going to tell you, I'm excited because the Admiral is a black man. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. I mean, that's important. That's important for people to recognize and to know because, hey, brother, you are at the very tip. So, like, if you had stars or something, you got stars. See, that's like a general.
Excuse me, we just have to do some quick work in the other room. Charles, can you come back and do the promo real quick? Sure. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Okay. So, Misha, you going to DC?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Excited.
So what are you going to be doing there?
Director of Policy and External Affairs for the National Black Child Development Institute.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, great.
So, saving our black children.
There you go. It's important. That's important. So I won't be too far from you. I'll be a little further south down in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay. Nice.
That's where we're going next. So yeah. So I love DC. DC's a great city. So yeah.
Question for you. So around, and I meant to ask it on there, I'll probably ask it again. When it comes to, obviously, I think that everybody in the military has a sense of patriotism. But when you're talking about how far black men have come, or specifically recruiting black men in an era where they may not necessarily feel like America is that land of hope for various reasons, does that change the conversation, or how does that conversation go?
Well, it starts with talking about examples, of just the achievement that we've made inside the military. I can recount, just role models for me as I worked my way up through the ranks. As I looked up and above me and seen, officers who have reached, a level that and were role models for me that I say I'd like to be like that person one day. So having those examples to be look at was very motivating for me. So that you start the conversation there that it is achievable, because I think that's the biggest deterrent. Is they say, well, I there's no way I can do that, and so why try? But by being able to show those examples first, and then by then after starting that conversation, you talk about, okay, well, what do you want to accomplish? And then you say, well, can you accomplish that within the military? So that's kind of how you approach that. And I think we have a very successful trend of being able to do that.
Miss something?
No. I was gonna say, and you went to a school that obviously culminated into that experience, college.
And did you go to the Citadel knowing that you were going, or did you already just go to the Citadel?
I went to the Citadel. Like I said, I was going to go to law school. I had no idea I was going to join the military.
What's that guy, man, who played at Citadel, man? Stump
Mitchell.
Stump Mitchell played at Citadel.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Were you there when you were?
Stump was there my freshman year. He was a senior. Yeah.
Yeah. Stump Mitchell, man. He played for the Cardinals,
that's
right?
Played for the Cardinals.
I could play some football, man.
If we get a chance, I've got 7 principles. I call them my 7 ups. Okay. So if we can work that in before.
Man, you tell us. So when you tell us what's next, and then we'll say, what have you learned? Yeah. Like what? So you moved to this. You made it all the way to the blah blah blah. How'd you get there? So you tell us what's next. Okay. And then you'll tell us how you got there. Perfect. And then you can work that in.
Great.
Hey man, what does your staff look like? You got some brothers? You hire brothers? Do you get a say, or do you have a say in that?
I do. It's in some areas. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to put you. I forgot.
Plus,
I forgot.
Somebody on Facebook said he had the man with him. The man.
He's the man.
He's the man.
Let's so we clear. Let me just. That's why
he the man.
He is the man. And that's why I keep saying, make them walk by. You got to make them do a salute. See, they need to see brothers in charge, man. See, he even got a white driver, y'all. He got a white driver. Man, like, he got the man. Look. They be driving him. It's not the other way around. See, I was gonna ask. All the time I think of the Navy, that roots just sticks in my head of them having to always be in the kitchen. In the is it? Do you ever have to make a decision like to really destroy something? Like, have you ever had to take have they said, hit the button, bro? You got the button, and it's like, when you hit that button, something is happening.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. I've been in during the Gulf Wars. The ship launched missiles into, and we knew that when we launched those missiles that on the other end of that there was a possibility that that we're gonna destroy something.
I was just thinking, is there hesitation though? So I always think when you about to throw the first punch, if I throw this punch, there's gonna be a fight.
Right.
Is there any fear of pushing the button because of what the consequence could be?
Not at the point when you push it. I mean, we wrestle those things up front. I mean, so if you're gonna be in this profession, you have to basically resolve yourself or be good with yourself that you're going to be given orders to do things, and you have to be willing to carry them out. And if you're not willing to carry them out, you shouldn't be in the profession at all. So the time to have to wrestle with that decision is not when you're pushing the button. The time to wrestle with that decision is long before that.
Man, brother, but what if you about to hit the button? Could you think you got to turn the key? Because Donald Trump calls you up and says, turn the key.
Well, Donald Trump wouldn't be calling me, but
to call the gym. Oh wait,
but still, I mean, it's about and you kind of know. I mean, the enemy is trying to kill us out there. I mean, so we know that they look at our way of life and they don't like our way of life. It's opposed to theirs, and so. In situations where we are given that the orders to do that, we carry them out.
Is Donald? Do you have any? Do you see soldiers or anybody having a challenge with Donald Trump as the commander-in-chief?
Yeah. Well, the commander-in-chief is a commander-in-chief, whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's or somebody else. And so that's not the issue. The issue is not with
when they say not my president, though.
Well, but he is our president.
That's what I thought. You don't have the option.
Right.
No resistance.
You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building, as well as Amisha Cross. as well as Amisha Cross. We are talking to Rear Admiral Stephen C. Evans, commander of the Naval Service Training Command. Charles, you had a question.
You talked earlier about the positive impact that involving women on warships has had, and in the Navy. What about transgendered people?
Well, the issue of transgender is one that is one of policy, and as you've seen in the news, that's been worked out right now. I mean, so I don't have a comment on that, and that's because those policies are still being worked out at the national level.
So there's some you can't talk about that because of.
Right, exactly right. I mean, if you read in the news, the administration has decided to put a hold on the integration of transgender into our Navy, and so into our military. So that's still being worked out. When that issue's worked out, then we'll move forward on that. But if you ask me, I think that the ability to serve is something that every American should have the right to do if able.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Admiral Stephen C. Evans. Now, Admiral, they tell me you're leaving the Great Lakes Military Base. What's next?
Well, Mays, that's correct. I've been here for 2 years now, and this has been a great experience for me, the highlight of my naval career so far. So we'll be leaving here in about 3 to 4 weeks here, headed to Norfolk, Virginia. I'm going to have the honor and privilege of being able to take command of a carrier strike group, Carrier Strike Group 2. So that's the carrier.
Wait. The thing where the plane lands on it?
That's
like
right.
Top Gun?
That's exactly right.
Hold on. A black man, are they going to let you float the boat out into the ocean too?
Yes, that's right.
Which one is it?
It's the George Herbert Walker Bush. Will be my flagship. That's where we'll reside on, and then we'll have 8 other ships that are supporting that strike group, along with all the aircraft.
And you got all of them?
Yeah.
It's a nuclear one.
It's a nuclear aircraft carrier. That's right. Yeah. So I'll be in charge of the strike group and all the ships and aircraft that go with it. That's right.
So talk to me about what that looks like. How many people? How many people is that?
It's about 7,000 people. Like I said, on about 9 to 10 ships and about 75 to 80 aircraft, and so it's a pretty exciting opportunity for me, and we're ready to go do that.
Now, don't do me a favor, right? Because we saw the story about the tanker in China seas. Please don't fall asleep at the wheel, brother. Because we look at the news and we be like, please God, don't let that be a black man who did that. Please. Now. Talk to me about what it took for you to get to be able to command a naval, a strike fleet. You got a aircraft carrier and everything.
Well, I tell you, first of all, let me say I'm very blessed, and so and I've been able to, through strong faith, been able to accomplish a lot of things, and so but I kind of break it down when I talk to people into what I call the 7 ups. And first of all, first up is you got to wake up. So you start each day with a positive attitude, and that's got to drive you. I can say that I've had no bad days. I've had bad moments, but no bad days.
We say that's being woke.
Yeah, there you go. So
let me hear you say that, Admiral. Say, got to be woke.
Got to be woke.
Admiral, look at that. First of all, we don't give the Admiral direction. The Admiral's supposed to be giving us direction. You see his guy in the back like, hey. That's the boss, man. The brother, look, he looking over, giving us that stern enforcement look. Now, Admiral, continue, but can you make sure you talk him in the mic, please?
All right, sure. The second one is dress up. You gotta look the part. You gotta care about how you look, what you look.
No sagging. Y'all don't allow sagging in the Navy.
Not in uniform, no. So you gotta dress. You gotta feel good about how you look and every day. The third is you got to stand up. You got to have standards. You got to live by some type of principle. You got to have integrity. You have to be committed to what you're doing. The fourth up is you got to reach up, and that's about setting goals. You got to set goals. You got to set them high. I always tell people you set your goals and then you take a look at them and then you set them higher because you probably didn't set them high enough. And so set goals and then build a plan to execute those goals. And then the fifth up is backup. So again, we got to back each other up. We got to support each other. A lot of times, you know, we see, especially us as African American, we got to make sure that we are supporting each other in our goals and accomplishments. So getting out and support each other. So you got to have backup, and you got to provide backup. The sixth up is sometimes you just got to shut up, right? You got to listen, because you can't learn while you're talking. You got to listen. So sometimes just listening is the most effective way of learning. So sometimes you just got to shut up. And then the last up is you got to show up. All right, you know, you got to be there, and you got to be there, and you got to step up. You know, and that's the big part about being a leader. Is stepping up and being a leader, and to help to succeed and to help others succeed. So that's kind of been how I've gotten to where I am, and I think that's a great formula for success.
Have they ever had a brother run a carrier group before?
Yeah, we have. I won't be the first to do it. Our Navy has had several others who've done it very successfully, and I hope to follow in that legacy.
Don't hope. We know you will. Don't be the last. So. You seem kind of like a nice guy to be an admiral, though. I mean, you seem very understated and low key. How did you get to be an admiral as nice as you seem to be, or is this just a front?
Well, I like to live my life positively, Maze. You know.
So you use positive reinforcement. They'll do what you tell them.
Exactly right.
Slap them around.
Well, you know, you run the whole range there. You know, it's like your leadership toolkit. You know, you got to be able to do it all, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And so when but I think positive reinforcement has been the best leadership tool that I've had.
My dad used to think it was too, but it was just a belt. Yeah. Last question from me: who, in your career, who have you mentored? Have you brought young black men to take advantage of what you've learned?
Oh, absolutely. I have several. I call them proteges. That I mentored along the way, and I still mentor now, and they are doing great things in our Navy, and across the country doing other things also. But it's about again, it's part of that backup is reaching out to other people and bringing them forward, is paying it forward. I mean, I've had great mentors myself, and so me being able to pay that back is something that I'm highly interested in doing every day.
We ever heard of any of your mentors? I mean, anybody that you could say you've looked up to?
Well, sure. I mean, there have been several. There's one whose portrait hangs in my office today, and that's Vice Admiral Samuel Gravely. And Samuel Gravely was the first African American to reach the rank of flag officer in our Navy. He was the first in everything. He was the first African American to be an officer on a Navy ship. He was the first African American to captain a Navy ship, the first African American to be a flag officer, first African American to reach 3-star in our Navy. And his portrait hangs in my office as a legacy to him. And it's a portrait which has hung in the office of an African American flag officer for the last 15 years. And I have that portrait in my office as I continue that legacy today. So he's been a great role model for me, and someone who I've looked up to and gotten strength from every day.
Samuel Gravely.
Samuel Gravely.
I have to look this brother up.
Absolutely right.
Let's go to the live line, because brother, I think that you have provided some inspiration, and I want to give people opportunity to talk. Emmanuel, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Charles.
Good morning.
And good morning to the Admiral.
Good morning.
I had the great opportunity to meet Samuel Gravely when I was in the United States Navy as a young sailor stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. He was over the 3rd Fleet.
Yep.
And it was my proudest moment when that man walked through, and I saw how black and beautiful he was in that white suit with all them scrambled eggs on his hat and his brass hanging off his arm. I really felt super duper, it made me feel really proud to see and meet. I didn't shake his hand, nothing like that. I was in formation, but I got to tell you, it was a real awesome moment. So good luck to all in your new endeavor and your new station, Admiral, and make us proud.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. You know what? We have to go to break, but when we come back, I'm going to take these other calls. And I think we want to just make sure that we commend you. We don't always give a lot of love to our brothers and sisters that serve, right? Because they don't ever present this picture. So we got to thank you for your service, and we got to honor and respect that, because we recognize that if it wasn't for brothers like you, none of us would be free from top to bottom. So I want to make sure we show that love and respect. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm sitting here honored to be talking to an admiral. That's right, a black admiral, Stephen C. Evans. He's still the commander of the Naval Service Training Center up north in Waukegan and Great Lakes. But ladies and gentlemen, this brother is about to go out and protect us in the fleet. 7,000 people. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, you are on the Talk of Chicago. We'll be back.
More of the morning show.
Hey man, that's awesome, bro. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest military guy, you know, as we talk about fighting the power, etc. But I will also say that we also recognize that it don't go down without people like you. And so those of you that have been called to military service, and the fact that you have in your mind that you are mentoring people and bringing young brothers up, hey man, it has to happen. So I got family that was military all over the place. Hey man, but it's like when that brother's like, man, when you get to see a brother walk through and he's here with the scrambled eggs all on his hat and all of the, I'm saying I see you with all these shiny buttons, brother, you got a star, right? So I just think about the patent and all of that stuff, and you like a general.
That's right.
Like a general. Like, that's a big deal, right? Like, to me, that's a big deal.
Maze, real quick, let's knock out the after show.
Okay.
Okay, so we're just going to start with you, Charles, if you can join in. We're going to knock out the after show real quick right now.
I got to run out.
Are we doing the after the show?
Right now, yeah. So, yeah.
I'll walk that way.
Okay.
After the show, it's the after party. Ladies and gentlemen, every day after the show, it's the after party. I'm your man, Maze Jackson.
And I'm Charles Thomas.
And you know what? We had a great show, and I'm going to tell you what. The part that I'm the most excited about was talking to this brother right here. Look at that, man. He got stars.
Look at all them screens.
All that shiny. Look, this brother is about to, this brother, I mean, you can't be disrespecting the general, man. The honorable admiral. But check this out, ladies and gentlemen. This brother is going out to go into the seas. He's going to be commanding a naval aircraft carrier plus a fleet. 7,000 people in this command.
A nuclear aircraft carrier.
Man, be
the
careful.
George Herbert Walker Bush. This is going to be the guy running it. So when you hear about it, you're going to know that this brother right here is going to be running it.
Hey, and check this out. Tell the brothers, don't eat no chicken. Buy the button, because we don't want them to slip and send one of them bombs up. Ladies and gentlemen, every day after the show is the after party. I'm your man, Maze Jackson.
What are you talking about?
Hey, man.
You don't want to do a Homer Simpson.
We out.
Thank you again.
Fried chicken. A fried chicken. No, you know, I was thinking like, could you imagine?
What was that? Go ahead.
You know, I was thinking of, and it didn't come out. But I was thinking like, eating at the, you know how we're not supposed to eat at the control panel? Right? I was thinking like, man, you got a brother. I know you got to hook up the menu. Do y'all have, I know you hook up, y'all got to have a soul food night on the boat, right?
You do, yeah, right.
See, I know I wasn't crazy, right? I'm just saying, you know, the brother on the night on soul food night, the brother, they make him work, right? So he got to work, not you, brother. And you be thinking like, man, I'm going to take this chicken wing with me. Don't slip on the button, man. Like, how far is the, like, to launch a nuclear missile, how complicated is it? Like, how many steps, how many checkoffs?
It's classified, man.
It's very complicated. It's very controlled, you know, and,
Is it like the thing where they, like on the movie where you got to get the call, then you got to verify the number, and then
you got to be Denzel, right?
It's a lot like that. Yeah, exactly right. That's not too far off.
Man. How awesome, man.
What was that? Was that Hunt for Red October? Which one was that?
No, that was Crimson Tide.
Crimson
Ooh,
Tide.
did you like that movie?
I like that movie.
Any reality in it?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of, but Denzel.
Not about Sean Connery wasn't real?
Yeah. But, hey,
you ever met any Sean Connerys?
No, I've met any Sean Connerys. But I like that movie too.
Huh?
I like the movie.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We are talking to Admiral Stephen C. Evans. He is the commander of the Naval Service Training Command Center at the Great Lakes Naval Base. He's leaving to go protect us. They're giving him a naval... He's getting a nuclear... No, not submarine. A nuclear...
Aircraft Carrier Strike Group.
That means you piloting the Top Gun boat.
So that's one of the newer ships too, right?
It certainly is.
What was that built? H. Walker Bush, H.W. Walker Bush.
Right. That ship is about 5-6 years old. You know, and as you know, we just commissioned
you got
the newest one.
You got some new stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, they gonna give the brother the newest one, man. One of the newest ones.
Yes, but one of the newest. The only one newer is the one we just commissioned last weekend, which is the Gerald R. Ford. As you know, that's the brand new one. That's the next new one.
How much? So what's the total value of the boats that you will be the ships that you will be?
Thank you, Charles.
Get it right.
The total value?
Yeah, like.
Oh man, I couldn't. You figure that aircraft carriers it's about $10 billion.
Oh man, you
$10 billion.
Man, you better not.
Hey man, don't you? I'm telling you.
Then each ship is with him is probably another $2 to $3 billion. I mean, so that's a lot of money.
So you're gonna be rolling around the high seas with about $100 billion worth of high tech.
That's a little
weaponry.
That's just the ships. Then you got all the armament that's on it. So
how much does a missile cost?
Oh, well, depends on the missile. Can cost a couple $1 million.
Exactly. Each time you shoot one?
Exactly.
Y'all better start using bullets, man. Y'all better start using bullets. You know these taxes they got us paying around here these days. You know what? Let's go to the live lines because I want to just make sure you get your props from the people. Lieutenant Colonel Jeffries, you are talking to Admiral Stephen Evans. Welcome.
Hi, sir, Mays and Charles. I was compelled to really call because I want to thank him for allowing our community to see that it's more than the Army, which is the best branch there is, so that we can become exposed to that and we can give our young people options. So I really thank him for that, and it's an honor. I've gone to Great Lakes a number of times, especially when I was doing my BA at Fort Sheridan. But one of my heroes or sheroes is the Admiral Michelle Howard, 4-star. So yes, we are in command and we are doing things. The Army has about 12% black enlisted, and I think at times we don't want to stand up and say, yes, we are black, and I am going to say that at every rip. And also, I did discuss on the Kendall Moore show on Sunday about transgender. And what I leave anybody with this is ultimately it's about respect. And I command and love, and whatever they choose to do at the federal level, I'm going to take care of my soldiers and keep them safe.
Thank you, Lieutenant Jeffries. Go ahead.
Colonel, thank you for that. I will also say that Admiral Howard is one of my mentors and role models, and she is someone who I respect greatly. So thank you for mentioning her.
Bernadette, you are talking to the Admiral Stephen Evans.
Oh, what a blessing. What a pleasure. Thank you, sir, for all of your wonderful work that you're doing. I have a great nephew, Courtney Nelson, who's in the Navy, and 2 years ago he told me, oh, I'm making this my career. Wait till I tell him I was vocally close to Admiral Stephen C. Evans by phone.
How awesome. You know what? Thank you, Bernadette, for calling. Sal, you're on the Talk of Chicago.
Good morning, and thank you so much. Congratulations, Admiral Evans. I'm calling about to find out if you are aware of any effort or concern for what Dory Miller experienced and the lack of him being recognized for the Congressional Medal of Honor. In 2014, President Obama recognized 24 people who unfortunately all came from the Army, and the Navy still failed to suggest that he be given that type of recognition, further suggesting that racism is still going on. 29 planes were shot down in Pearl Harbor. Dory Miller is credited with shooting down 5, no less than 5 of those planes. It might have been more, but...
Thank you, Sal. Go ahead, Admiral.
Well, Sal, I thank you for that. You're absolutely right. Dory Miller is a great sailor and very heroic. His actions on that day in Pearl Harbor. But I'm not aware of those actions with the Navy and how that was worked out. So I'm sorry I can't talk to it, but I will say that Dory Miller is an American hero.
So, Admiral, I'm going to tell you that, again, one of these times when Todd was like, you got to talk to the Admiral. And I was like, why do we want to talk to the Navy? And then you come in here and you impress us and you knock us down and you, one more time, give us a reason to be proud as black people, living black history. And so, you know, oftentimes we hear stories of people after they're gone. And I think that this was an opportunity to give you your flowers while you were here. I'm upset that we didn't know you as well before you leave. But you know what? I'll tell you what I do feel like. I feel a lot more safer. I feel a lot safer knowing that a brother like you is at the helm of one of these aircraft carriers. What? Talk to us, man. You got 2 minutes to say goodbye to the people. We want to is there anything else you want them to know?
Well, Mace, thanks to you too, Charles and Amisha. Thanks for having me here this morning. It's been a real honor to talk about our Navy and about African Americans serving very proudly in our Navy all around the world. You know, our Navy is our sea service, and I like to say the Navy is our true away team. You know, we never play a home game. You know, when we're doing our jobs, we're usually pretty far away from home, so the American public don't get the opportunity to see what we do or just how good these young men and women, especially our African American young men and women, are, you know, how proudly they serve. So I thank you for the opportunity for having me here this morning to talk about that.
All right.
Man, I really appreciate those 7-Ups because they work everywhere. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amisha. You want to say bye?
Thank you for being here. No, seriously. I come from a family with a lot of people who have served in the military in various forms. And I think that just hearing what you do, seeing someone in leadership who is an African American and who's risen in the ranks as strongly and powerfully as you have, I think really helps to set the standard and really push the conversation on what the military is and why it's relevant and why it's extremely important today.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, the time flies by. You are listening to Talk Chicago 1690. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. My main man, Charles Thomas. For Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, for Sonia Escobar, our musical director of the Soul Plane, for Amisha Cross on her last day. If they don't like it, you know how it goes. You can still tell them, May said, we out of here, peace.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice.
Man, how awesome. Let me just say, I was so,
Trump Jr.
like, what are we going to talk to him about? It is pretty awesome. And I think you gotta we gotta make sure young black kids see the outcomes, right? See that a brother can get the stars.
Thanks a lot, my brother.
Can I would like to, can I get a picture?
Absolutely.
Hold it, PR guy, I gotta get a picture. I'm gonna tell my people, act up, I know somebody send a strike on you. I know somebody with the keys.
I can see him float right down to Chicago.
Hey man, I'm out of here.
Hello everybody.